When the car gets back, Caleb, you let me with the stand, eh? Karibuni sana, karibuni, welcome. Yes, you guys are right on time. We are back. Yo. Jocelyn Akinyi, how are you doing? Luna Eve, we are back. Diana Mogiti, hello. Shishi001, yo, we are back. Obinna leo nitaje. George Harrison, how you doing? Anita, hey Obinna, hey Anita, how you doing? Jocelyn Akinyi, nimekucheki, you are the first one here. Karibu sana. Victoria Kajabu, welcome. Locked in from Kirinyaga University. Frida Ndeti, how you doing? Watching from Manchester. Max Super, how you doing? Welcome. Watching live from prison. Ezra Basil. Okay, wow. Karibu sana wafungwa. Yeah, all right. Karibu sana. Langata tuko nani kama kawa. Jocelyn Akinyi, welcome. Watching from Kitengela. TN Tiger, how you doing? Watching from Kirinyaga, Peter Njigoya, karibu sana. Bavaria in the house, how you doing? Chris Akish, what's up? Hi Obinna, hi Fosadan, how you doing? Watching from Saudi Arabia, Ramla Rajab, how you doing? Karibu sana. Watching from Quebec, okay. Dena Mimo, what's up? How you doing? Watching from Oman, Rose Wairimu, karibu sana. Leo nimetajwa na lala na viatu. Aya, Miriam lala na viatu tatu. Okay. Home and away from home ni huku. Fei, karibu sana. Nigel Swat huku. Leo nitaje ni Ndakas from UON. Karibu sana. Niko hapa Westlands. Chebet Naomi, how you doing? Obinna Aheri, Amenda Heri. Yes. Bosi ameshiba. Imagine sijashiba by the way. Caleb, you need to re-strategize on that food work. Na kwa maana nimekula masambala. Imeingia ikatoka. I think we need to go the kienyeji way. Tukue tunapika ugali, alafu si ile inapimwa hivi kama patko. Sasa Munez ni mtu wa kumpimia ugali hivi kama patko. Hata sikia. Yeah, inafaa hiyo ugali wanaume wanakutana katikati. Unaona unafinya huku kwa maana mikono zinapatana katikati hivi tukinini ile nini imebaki. Actually I think tufanye petition Caleb anze kutupikia omena, mnaonaje? Korir umekataa omena? Korir unakataa omena? Who does not like omena? Those of omena say aye. Those of njahe say aye. Yeah. So actually Caleb, you need to think. Mimi wallahi sijasikia penye food imeenda. Swear to God. Nimeuma hivi kidogo niko like cream spinach umetujazia kwa sahani. Kuna mtu ameshiba? Korir umeshiba? Kevo umeshiba? Onesu umeshiba? Hata Katrina umeshiba? Kama Katrina hajashiba, Caleb, you're doing badly on your kitchen part. Sasa msiandike hapa bosi ameshiba. No, hatujashiba. We reject. Karibuni sana. Obinna have not recovered from the last interview. Yeah, Diana Chepchumba, that one was quite something. If you haven't watched the interview before this one, do it. That lady has been through so much. She's encountered witch doctors. She's spoken to evil spirits, with evil spirits. And her life is something else. Yeah, so if you haven't watched that one, I suggest you get to jump on that one. And also before that one, we had another young man who was shot 8 times during the maandamano. Kidogo mambo yake ilikuwa imechemuka, lakini if you get the conversation, you'll also understand something from it, all right? Huge fan, tune in Poland, Florida. Oh, wow. Muko na TikTok? Just asking, si bado tuko nayo. Nimeshinda vita. Umwani ile mimati Kenya wangekuwa wamebani TikTok zaidi tungekuwa kwa streets. Tungekuwa tusha mbaya sana. Watu wa Juja get to be karibuni sana. King Shopper, Caleb you are fired. No. Huyo ni last born. Huyo change tu chakula yake kidogo tutakuwa tuko sawa. Okay. Straight out of Kuwait City, Dante karibu sana. All right, I think we have a decent number, so we can get to begin. Davido, nipe introduction. Good evening, good morning, good night, good afternoon, depending on where you're watching us from and at what time. How you doing? Karibu sana on Obinna Show live. Thank you very much for streaming this live. Thank you very much for clearing time out of your busy schedule to watch this live. We don't take that for granted. And also for buying your bundles. Asante sana. Welcome. We promise not to disappoint. That's why on this platform, we keep bringing for you the people that you ask us to bring. We do so. On this platform, automatically you know what it's about. We educate you and we entertain you in the process. We aim to motivate, we aim to inspire. However, occasionally we have some conversations that are quite intriguing. Coming live to you from Samaki on Othaya Road. This joint is best known for seafood. If you come over this side with your person during Valentine's, atafurahia sana. The ambience is given and also the food is A1. Alrighty, now let's jump right into it. For this particular conversation, it's going to be very eye-opening. It's going to intrigue a lot of emotions, but you're also going to be very, very, very inspired, and you're going to be motivated to fight for your country, because the gentleman that I am seated down with, that I'm honored to be having this conversation with, is a gentleman that I've wanted to sit down with for a long while. And finally, Mambo ya Mungu, he's here. The one and only Minyororo, aka Senator Okiya Omtatah. Karibu sana.
Asante.
Yes. How are you?
I'm fine within the circumstances.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was your day?
My day has not been eventful, just busy as usual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you are very busy. You are hard to find.
Yeah, just because I've been doing some work,
Yeah.
which required a bit of concentration.
Okay.
And I've been sleeping late.
Okay.
And waking up early. That's why I was not able to get time to come on the site when you invited me.
Okay.
Yeah.
But now you're here. Karibu.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. Welcome, sit it down. How late is late for you? Like you say you're sleeping late. How late is late?
Maybe by yesterday, I left the office at 3 a.m. and I was back at 8. Yeah.
You left the office at 3 a.m.?
Yeah, that has been a routine from November.
Last year?
Yes. But it's ending, I think, by end of this week. I go back to my normal schedule.
Kwani, what's happening in the last, like from November?
I've been trying to crack the question of the odious debt. And I've had to read about 50,000 pieces of paper.
Oh, wow.
And take notes and try to structure them and get to know what really hit us.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think I've cracked it.
Oh, you got it finally. So like the 1 week, just in 1 week, I'll give you guys the report. So muone imekuaje.
Yeah, maybe even less than a week.
I've
cracked it, and I think a few people have got questions to answer.
Oh.
And money to refund.
Hey, ishawaka tu. It's burning, bro. Tumeanzia huku. Umesema they have questions to answer and money to refund. Mm-hmm. How much is the debt?
I am talking about, if you put together plus what has been paid back,
yes,
including interest, we're talking about 16 trillion shillings.
16 trillion.
Yes. Uh-huh. Out of which, when the Jubilee government came in, they found about 2.7 trillion debt.
Okay.
Parliament, up to September, the last document I had was September 2024.
Okay.
approved about 2.5 trillion.
More debt.
No, what the parliament approved the government to borrow.
Okay. 2.5 trillion.
About 2.5 trillion.
Uh-huh.
That would put our debt at something about 4 point what?
That
That's
is
about
4.2.
plus.
No, this one is 4.5. Oh wow. Tushapita huko hata tuko 5.
Yeah, around 5 trillion.
Tuko 5.2.
That's supposed to be our official debt. Today, the government tells you that we are owing about 11 trillion.
Oh wow.
Our official debt is supposed to be that.
Yes,
5.
Yes, 5.
Max, but it's less than 5, it's 4 point something. Should be that. Because under Kenyan law, only parliament can authorize borrowing.
Okay.
And it does that through the budget.
Okay.
And the constitution requires that when you make a budget, you must state how you are going to finance it.
Okay.
And all recurrent expenditure is financed by taxes. All recurrent.
Okay.
Then, for those who want to look at the article, I'm looking at Article 220 of the Constitution, Part 1. Talks about what the budget should contain.
Okay.
So, it says it must state also any deficit. And that deficit must be, they must explain how that deficit will be financed through borrowing,
Okay.
and how the borrowing will impact the public debt. So, from independence to 2013, we had about 2.7 trillion.
Yes.
And then Parliament has approved 2.5 trillion. From 2013 to November 2024, last year November.
Yes.
We approved about that figure. Now, but the government has borrowed a lot of money without reference to Parliament.
And we can't account for it.
We can't account for that money.
Hatujui imeenda wapi.
But
ni deni tumepewa.
Yeah. Ni deni wanasema tulipewa. Kwa sababu sisi kupewa deni lazima ipite kwa bunge.
Oh, okay.
So you take the budgets of 2013 to the budgets of 2013, 2014 year, to 2024, 2025.
Okay.
Budget. Now, when you look through that and check, how did Parliament approve in each budget? How much borrowing did Parliament approve?
Okay.
Then you are able to establish how much you have legitimately borrowed.
Okay.
But then you go, there's a statement they produce of actual payment that the Treasury gives. Huh? When you go that statement of the actual debt and what have you, they are giving a much bigger debt. So the question is, how did you borrow this money and what did it do? Because it was not factored in the budget.
And why?
And the budgets we passed were fully funded.
Yes.
They were balanced. They get the Eurobond. It appears nowhere in all those budgets. The 7 billion USD total of Eurobonds over the years.
Yes.
Including the letter. They are going out to borrow money to retire the earlier Eurobond which had matured. But if you go to the Constitution, and that's Article 214, it says public debt is a direct charge on the consolidated fund. You can't borrow a debt to pay a debt under Kenyan law. So somebody is playing games saying they're borrowing money to pay, yet they've paid the debt to the consolidated fund. You see. And if you look at the totality of the scam, you are talking of 16, the total amount of money that has played around is 16 trillion. When you minus the 5, which is legitimate, you end up at about 11 trillion in odious debt. And what do they tell you? Oh, they say our outstanding debt is 11 trillion. You see those figures?
So tuwalipie ile yenye imepotea.
Hapana.
Hiyo deficit.
Hapana.
Yeah.
Na pia mwenye alikuwa anapatiana hiyo pesa alijua kwamba kuna sheria ya Kenya. Kenya has a law that says if you want to lend to Kenya, this is the route. The IMF has got no business giving money to the president. That is money given to an individual, not to Kenyans. No. And the Kenyans have no business paying that money. That's why I said watu kuna maswali kujibu na pesa kulipwa. You see? Okay. So we cannot let this country collapse.
Okay.
Because of human greed.
Okay.
And the leaders who have been there. The presidents, we now have two presidents. That's Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto.
Okay.
You have had people who have been running the treasury. The ministers and the PSS. You have had people who have been running the Auditor General's office. You have had people who have been running the control of budget. You have had people in the central bank. That axis of evil, if I may call it, the time has come for it to answer hard questions. Why did they auction our country? Okay. Then they created the law whereby they can borrow this money and bank it abroad, when the constitution is very clear that any money, any receipts by the government must come into the consolidated fund or another fund established by parliament. And then the National Assembly also, you look at it and you wonder what is happening. You approved only about 2.5 trillion shillings in debt. Why are you approving repayments of 8 trillion? You see?
Yeah.
Why don't you have the conscience to question? The Auditor General, if you go to Article 229, I think it's 229 clause 4, paragraph G, it's very clear that every year the Auditor General should audit the public debt within 6 months of the end of the financial year, which ends in June. Therefore, by December 31st, there should be an audit of the public debt, and you tell us. The Auditor General never mentions anything about it. The controller of budget is seeing money going out to pay these debts. There's no evidence of those debts being in any budget. Why is there no issues being raised? Instead, they are raising issues about how their salaries are multiplied in the budgets and what have you. Those are small scams tinkering on the edges. The real swamp is that one.
Okay.
So those odious debts are issues we must address. Lazima tuangaliane kwa macho na tuelewane how we will pay these debts. And if we have to be paid, those are not sovereign debts. Those are regime debts. And those are regime debts whereby Jubilee government and IMF or anybody else went out and agreed to scam Kenyans. So my Mama Mboga cannot be bound to pay that debt. And that's why the rubber must meet the road. We must come back and say we are not going to fall into this debt trap, which was contracted outside Kenyan law. The law is supposed to protect the people. So you go outside the law, nyuma ya tent, and you do your deals. You cannot bring it back into the tent. So that's what we are saying. So we have this idea that we are choking in debt, that we are dying, that we must pay debt. And indeed we are choking, because about 70% of the government's expenditure now is going to paying debts. Debts which are irregularly, unlawfully, and unconstitutionally acquired. Debts which are regime debts, not sovereign debts. Not a debt that should bind a person in Muranga, or in Moyale, or in Bondo, or in Malindi. There are debts that should bind the regime, the president, and your men. When you are making these deals, you will pay back that money. Because you went outside the law, parliament was never involved, you broke the law, and you did things like there's no law in this country. And you who was lending, you had a duty of care. You knew that Kenyan law cannot allow you to lend outside parliament, outside the budget. So if you lend us and your money was not in the budget, where will you stand demanding that we pay you? These are matters that even if have to go to the ICC, because it's human crime. If you find now we cannot take kids to school because money is paying those debts, we cannot have medicine in hospitals because money is paying those debts, we cannot run all these things. There's a genocide going on. So this becomes a major violation of human rights. It's a crime against humanity, this kind of debts. And we may go to the ICC to sue the IMF, to sue the former presidents, and ask them, was this really the right thing to do? Did you have to destroy Kenya? We have municipal law. So that's what I've been doing from November. The right Robin documents are about 50,000 pages. But I think I've cracked it because I've gone through all of them. I've reduced them to about 120 pages.
Oh, wow.
And now everything is just
streamlined.
Straight lines. If you read it,
you get it.
It just comes out.
Okay.
And using government documents, not that I'm manufacturing documents. And using government documents available on the internet.
Okay.
Yeah, I downloaded just all of them and said, okay, let me try to understand this.
You audit government, basically.
Yes.
You audit.
Yeah, I remember there was a case the LSK took to court the other day with some people saying they want the government to tell us how much they've borrowed and whatever.
Yeah.
That we don't know. Now, when you say that, the government can come and say anything.
That's true.
Because you said you don't know what we borrowed.
That's
me, I decided to take a different route and said, let me go through government documents.
Digital TA.
And establish what government has borrowed and what has gone on.
Okay.
And that's why I'm saying there's a scam of 11 trillion shillings.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
That we need to sit down, face each other in the face. And then we can't do it in Nairobi. We go and do it at the ICC. And say, who pays this debt? Our law is not a piece of paper. Our law is not idle. When the Constitution says you do things in this way, it binds both the president and his men, and it binds the lenders who are lending to us. They must reassure themselves that whatever they are doing is lawful.
Yeah.
If it's unlawful, they cannot then come within the same law to demand equity. So that's where we are.
Okay.
So when I sleep at 3, I don't regret. But I'm very happy that I've cracked it.
Yeah.
And now the 120-page thing is the one that I might want to share with the Kenyans very soon.
Okay.
So that they can see how they've been scammed.
Okay.
And I will challenge the government to disown it because I've used their own documents.
Okay.
Yeah. That's where we are.
That is the senator for Busia. You say for or from Busia.
I'm a senator of the Republic of Kenya. I can go to Nyeri and ask questions.
Oh.
But the governor of Nyeri cannot go to Busia and ask questions. So it's the governor of Nyeri
yes.
or the governor of Busia, but the senator from. Yeah, the senator sits in the... Is a national. It's the governor who is tied to Busia.
Governor, is he move at MP?
We are in the village boy.
MP?
MP is from.
MP is from,
yes.
Because the national matter.
Yes.
MCA ndio wa hapo.
Lakini kwa ward is from the ward. Lakini is of that. So me, I'm a senator of Kenya, but from Busia. And the MP of Madare, MP of Kenya from Madare.
From Madare.
Yeah. You are not the MP from Madare, no. What happens in Bondo is your business.
That's true.
That's why you sit in the National Assembly. You are a national leader, you are not a village leader.
Copy.
The village leaders are the governors. Nyinyi vijana mnakaa Nairobi. By the way,
do they just call governors village leaders?
Yes, of course they are.
Surely.
They're village leaders. They can't come to Nairobi. Hawezi kuika Nairobi.
Wewe governor wa Kitale ni mtu wangu. Yaani umesema natembea.
Natembea ni vijana.
Ni village.
Wakikosa hapo tunawaita kwa adhibu hapa Nairobi.
Au.
You see. But the governors cannot summon me.
By the way.
And when the pecking order, a senator is higher than a governor. The governors are only leaders because most of them steal, so they look richer. But if they are not stealing, the allowance of a senator and the pack of a governor is the same. Actually the same. But they steal some here and there, they look like they are big, and they say mkono mtupu haulambi. Governor, senator mkono ni mtupu. Governor
hapo kwa village ndio kuna mambo.
Kuna mambo huko.
Wanapanga kazi. Tusaidia senator
from
Busia.
Yes.
and I'm Baba County of
Huh?
Obinna Show live.
No, from Obinna Show live off the internet.
Off the internet.
Yes.
Just when you're off.
Yeah. Mimi
Of
from
Kenya.
From sisi ndio off.
of Obinna.
Sisi ndio off Obinna.
Of Obinna.
Senator Obinna.
Okay, Omtatah.
Hapa network kidogo.
Hapa network kidogo. Hiyo document ukisha print nitumie pia mimi kwa WhatsApp nikae nayo.
Nitasambaza.
Msambaza please. Tunataka tuisome. Umesema from 50,000 to 100.
120 pages, you guy.
120 pages.
Yes, 120 pages.
Si mwa Kenya, hiyo tu ni karatasi yani aongeze notes.
Yeah, kama ikikuwa too hot.
Inaenda kuchemka. Omtatah, acha nikusalamie. Na kuonaga tu kwa TV.
Hapa ni kwa TV ama ni wapi?
Watu wanakufanyaga vibaba. No, ile. Unajua sisi ni watu
TV za kitambo, sema TV za kitambo.
Great Wall. Sisi ni watu wa Busia. Sisi ni watu Ugunja. Huyu anapitanga kwetu. Acha nikufungulie ndio story shike.
Story anze kubamba sasa. So guys, we are hosting the senator from Busia. Senator Okiya Omtatah. Na mambo yameshaje hata tujaanza kipindi. Na tayari tushajua tuko na deni ya 11 trillion that we are supposed to pay and it was not legally acquired but people have to answer somewhere. Haya, ndio tumeanza sasa. Umemaliza Baba County, tuendelee?
Namfungulia juu najua atakunywa mbili.
Oh.
In fact,
Karibu.
in fact 11 trillion.
Yeah.
Remember I told you I've got about 16,
Yeah.
So that's plus the 5. That is legitimate.
Yeah.
So when you add it becomes true. That amount. But you'll see that with the calculations.
Yeah.
And I've referenced all budgets from 2013
Okay.
to the current budget.
Okay.
I've referenced all of them. So I will challenge anybody
Kama
in government
deny.
to go and deny.
Ruka ngori.
So mambo ya kuambiwa ati Uhuru anaambia jenzi ati muende mtetee mali yenu.
He's one of them.
Akunja hachunge. Jenzi wote mkuu akisoma kitu yangu hii watamuendea.
Because if you look at it, see Ruto's regime ndo imeanza.
Yeah.
So inamaanisha all this has been ballooned from then.
Yeah.
2013. So Ruto amekula tu labda kidogo.
So ukitoa, unajua the 16 includes repayment.
Yes.
That have been made.
Okay.
You know, when you repay an odious debt, the interest on odious debt is also odious. It's not legit. So the 16% includes interest on odious debt and the costs incurred when acquiring that debt. But the real figures of the principal is under Uhuru is about 4.8 or something.
Yeah.
And Ruto is about 2.5 or something there.
Okay.
Yeah. So
the interest na nini.
Lakini ukiongeza the interest, the repayment, the costs that go in,
okay.
The calculations, they say they paid this cost, they paid this when processing this data and all those things.
Yeah.
So when you add them globally, they come to that.
Sasa question, now that you mentioned this on Obinna Show Live and you know they're watching, hawezi tafuta place umesave hizo document wazinifanyie ile kitu.
Hawezi kutoboa. So last time alikuja kwenye NASA, mimi nikawa NASA. Unakumbuka alikuja na kuona. Hawakuniona. Wakichukua kibeti. Labda kaanza poroja milioni na taka kibeti nyara. Tukaona kila kitu, tukawapiga mapicha. Hawakujua tulikuwa tumewanasa.
Okay. Now this document is ready.
Yeah.
Unaipeleka wapi? Unaenda kuileak online ama unapeleka kwa koti?
So kuleak, kupublish.
Oh.
It's going to go in my name and signature.
Leakage ni ile msijue ni nani lakini ndio hiyo.
I don't leak. I pronounce.
Okay. Sawa. Haya, wacha sasa tuanze sasa kipindi so that we can come back all the way to where this debt got us. So, I'm well informed that when you are young age you are a hunter. Ulikuwa mtu because ulikuwa unasema this jamaa so the first time I knew about you ulikuwa umejifunga na mnyororo pale Integrity. Nikakucheki. Nasema Okay,
Sio integrity, police headquarters.
Police headquarters.
Don't downgrade it.
Sorry. Wasema unaenda kwa polisi unajifungia hapo. So I was asking myself, okay, kifungia nyororo iko. Aogopi kupigwa, aogopi nini? So later, I'm starting to learn about your courage pole. So kumbe wewe ni hunter. Nasikia ulikuwa na wamanyoka, manini unarudi nyumbani na madamu. Hiyo story ni ukweli?
Yeah, it's a bit of it is because nilikuwa napenda kufuga kuku.
Okay.
And unajua kwa Waluya inasema ingo ho. Ingo, what does ingo mean?
Nyumbani.
Ho.
Hapo.
Near home, those things are near home.
Okay.
Ingo ho means the bird you see near home. Ukiona hiyo ndege ni ishara ya boma.
Okay.
You cannot get ingo in Masai Mara.
Oh wow. Come to think of it.
Yeah,
that's
why it's called the bird of the home.
When you say chicken, no, there's a home around.
There's a home, yeah. Yeah, so I loved keeping them, and then there was this mongooses and what have you. They would come stealing and eating them. So I declared war on them. Lakini baada ya kuinda wanyama hapa Nairobi ambao fighting mongoose in Nairobi ya migumbi ya kuvaa two-legged mongoose na necktie. But I was able to check the menace of mongoose in my village. Yeah.
Uli take charge.
Nilikuwa na umbwa. Umbwa moja, which was a very unique dog. Unajua those days ilikuwa inaitwa Biafra, and if you're not Biafra was the way in Nigeria, and my dog was called Biafra. Yeah. It was a very good dog.
Yeah.
And nilitumia nilifyeka mangusi na manyoka nyingi sana. Nikafagia village ikakaa
vizuri.
Yeah.
Wow, because I was told, ulikuwa unarudi umeua vitu madamu.
Hiyo ilikuwa just one occasion. Not ever, just once. When I met some folks which attacked me and I had no way. Nilikuwa napebanga rungu size. So there's an evening and I meet this big fox and I don't know why it came to attack me.
The fox?
Yes, a big fox. So iliruka kuni. Na mimi nikafunga macho na nikaswing hiyo vimba yangu, but mzuri nikapata kichwa. So kichwa ilipasuka ndio
damu ikakumwagia.
Yeah. So my mother saw me, she screamed, she thought I had been wounded, but
well.
So haikuwa ati nilikuja nayo madam. It was just only once that happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But that is where the courage started to be nurtured from.
Maybe not.
Okay. Aya, umesema unalala saa 9 by 8 uko kwa ofisi. Would you attribute this into your menu? Nasikia pia unapenda sana kienyeji. Wewe na kienyeji.
Nakula kienyeji.
Broiler zero.
Negative. Kwanza broiler is an insult to my mouth.
Hawezi kula. Umekuna zile kuku ziko pale tao zinazunguka hivi kwa kio. Hizo huwezi pita nayo? Wazi na slap.
Si kuku.
Si ni kuku, kwani wanakula nini?
Kama ni kuku si ingoho.
Hizi ni za tao.
Hiyo huwezi kuipata karibu na boma.
Unazipata kwa
cage. Huwezi kuipata kitambia karibu na boma. Huwezi kuona broiler.
So kulelewa na uji, nimesikia umelelewa na uji. Haya, vienyeji ugali ya brown ndio ni yako.
Hata kuzaliwa. I was born on a Monday. 30th November. 1964.
Wow.
Na mwambiwa my mama alikuwa ameenda, kulikuwa na hospitali ya the nearest was called Muila Hospital. It was very far. So my mother alikuwa ameambiwa rudi. I think I came 3 days earlier. So she went into labor at around 9 o'clock. So unajua nyumbani maternity ward ni nyuma ya nyumba.
True.
So akaenda nyuma ya nyumba na grandmother. Nikazaliwa. Nilipozaliwa it was a Monday.
Okay.
And I hear there was somebody visiting. So I said, mtoto utamuita Baraza. So the first name I was given was Baraza.
Okay.
And then my father, I hear was listening to BBC. And that day, people check 30th November 1964. I've not checked, but my father told me Winston Churchill,
Okay.
I think, was celebrating his 91st birthday or 90th birthday, something like that. He died, I think, a year later or a few months later. He was on BBC, being interviewed on BBC.
Okay.
So my father calls me Churchill.
Sasa hiyo kuna jina mbili. Baraza Churchill.
Yes. Now, my grandmother says she dreamt some 4 ancestors came fighting to one day to be named, me to be named after them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there was Ndubi, there was Dindi, there was Okiya Omtatah, and there was Nahumwa. Those are our ancestors.
Okay.
Now, to resolve that, she took 4 cocks in the evening and gave each one a name and threw them on the roof of the house. And the one that was to come down first and go straight into the house would take the day. So Okiya Omtatah came down first and went straight into the house. I was given that as my family name. That's my given name at home. Now, when they went to church, there used to be a priest called, there were 2 priests, Father Van Dongen and Father Louis Okodoi. Louis Okodoi was a local boy. He had become a priest.
Okay.
The late Louis Okodoi. So Louis Okodoi took me and said, no. This boy was born on 30th of November. 30th of November is a special day in the Catholic Church. It's the feast day of St. Andrew, the apostle and the elder brother of Peter.
Okay.
So this boy will be named Andrew. And he baptized me Andrew.
Okay.
So, Barada died.
Churchill?
Churchill remains in the village. I'm called Churchill. That's my nickname in the village. If you go for Okiya Omtatah, you will not get.
Kuja utafute Chacho.
Oh, utampata mara moja.
Okay.
Now, Okiya Omtatah also stuck.
Okay.
And my father was called Okoiti. That's how you get him now, Okiya Omtatah, Okoiti, and Andrew.
Okay.
That's how I'm told. I wasn't there. I was just a subject of something.
Okay.
So that's how I'm told it happened. And another thing I was told is that, ahead of me, I've got 4 sisters.
Okay.
So, my father was under pressure to get a son.
Okay.
So what happens,
Yeah.
from my grandmother's side, my grandmother is extracted from the Luo. I'm saying extracted because she's really Luo but Luyanized. They came from Ahero.
Okay.
Yeah, but then they became lawyers, and that's when you come to my home, you'll find names like Alo, names like Awindi, what have you, Luo names. Came from my grandmother's side, paternal grandmother. So, those people came and said, now, you have a medicine man who can give my father and my mother some herbs and they'll get a son.
Uji power.
Yeah, so my grandfather said no. My father said no. My mother also said no. Only my grandmother was of the view that that should happen. That's what I was told. Now my grandfather used to say, imagine if I had allowed that man to give your mother herbs and your father, and you are born, wouldn't that man own you? So he told me not to believe in the medicines of supernatural magic, whatever, and what have you. So I'm not a superstitious guy.
Okay.
My only superstition ends in religion.
Okay.
Outside religion, the formal Abrahamic religion that we call Christianity, I don't share any superstition. I don't believe in this funny magic or these Nigerian things you see the Nigerian movies that are engaged in what we call in theater. It's called Deus Ex Machina. Whereby you...
Ex machina.
The Deus Ex Machina technique in writing.
Okay.
Whereby you start a story, but within the story, there's no mechanism for ending it. So you need some god, a machine from the gods to help you end it. So you get a supernatural intervening,
okay,
and the story ends.
Okay.
It doesn't resolve itself within the plot.
Okay.
So when you look at a lot of Nigerian movies, have that Deus Ex Machina technique in them. So I don't, and which is also, so I'm not a superstitious guy.
Okay.
If you come trying those funny things, they'll not track on it. And I remember I experienced one time at my father's gate one morning, we went there and we found somebody had come and poured white flour and blood, something like blood across, and arranged 8 eggs right at the gate. And I remember my father laughing and saying, now this man has brought me a breed of chicken. So he took those eggs and put on a hen and hatched them. And we were able to get some chicken that were very short. So if you come to play magic with me, whatever, I believe totally in 1 + 1 = 2.
Okay.
That's why when people try to tell us there's magic in the what do you call it, in our debt register, I refuse it.
No,
let's
look at the paper.
Let us look at the paper. Let's look at the paper trail.
Okay.
Let us see. There's no magic. And even develop this country. Okay. We shall not develop by magic.
Okay.
We shall develop by doing things scientifically.
Okay.
Not by magic. Like sometimes when you look at tutatenda, tutafanya nini, it's an incantation of it's a magical incantation that never delivers. It has got no science in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because tutatenga, and you are being told, make a budget. Let the budget be your policy tool. Let the parliament make a budget with parliament and then implement it. So why are we going to tender? No. Make the budget. Show us in the budget that this is what we are going to do, and you have allocated so much money to it. Not making a campaign full of platitudes. Kind of things.
Okay.
So that's how it is.
All righty. Aya, so during childhood, so we're just coming polepole, alafu tufike kwa government, alafu ndo tunyoroshe mambo. Hapo itawaka. Hata mimi niko na maswali kadhaa. First of all, I really want to pick your mind on the IBC situation. I was informed less than a month ago, and I was like, wait a minute, hold up, what do you mean? So the IBC has to be this. So I'll pick your mind on that one as well. Then also we'll talk about the Manamano. But first, turudi kidogo nyuma. I want us to also get into the seminary life, because also I understand ulikuwa umeshikilia sana Umwami. But before shikilia Umwami, I've seen you have some marks on the hand. Hizi ni za maandamano ama hizi niyo folks?
Hizi zingine za maandamano. But you know, when I was arrested, I was put in a room that was infected with some very bad fungus. So when I left there, my body was, and it acted very fast. It got blistered all over the body at Kamkunji police station.
Oh, you juicy.
Yeah, juicy. And I was wondering why I was alone in the cell. Later on, some of the officers told me that cell is a torture chamber where they grow this fungus. So when they throw you there, the fungus attacks your body. So if you look at my body, it has been almost all wounds. That's why when I left court, I went to Mata. And I was admitted for 3 days. I was just working on the fungus. So I've been able to contain it. It's now healing. So part of it is that. Part of it is also maandamano. Yeah, so it's an anthology. It's not a single story.
Okay. Aya, tuingie seminary. So you at some point you dropped the seminary to get into politics.
I didn't drop the seminary. I think what happened in that I was in the seminary when I declined to join the university and I went for the philosophy. When I was finishing my philosophy to go for theology, I became heavily epileptic.
Oh wow!
So I began getting very severe bouts of epilepsy. I could get fits.
Anguka chini.
Anguka na zirai inapotea kabisa. You foam in the mouth, you bite your mouth, and so they Which was a logical thing. They said now with epilepsy, you cannot be a priest. What happens if you get an attack during mass? It will be a whole mess.
Sio nafikiria roho lor.
Yeah. So,
Umenipata?
so what happened? So I was taken to Aga Khan. They worked on me. They diagnosed me with what they call grand mal and what have you. And I was told I would live with the condition for the rest of my life. Yeah, and I prepared to live with it the rest of my life. So I began adjusting my life from the priestly to this. But I'm saying that because I did not leave the seminary on grounds of faith or morality. No, my faith was intact.
Okay.
It was out of health. Now, one time when I was playing football, I got a fit and somebody was watching, was on the audience, the spectators. After I recovered, he came to me and said, "You know what? My grandfather showed me about 24 herbs curing 24 kinds of illnesses.
Okay.
But I've forgotten all of them. I only remember 2. The 2 I remember, one is for epilepsy, and one is for this hunchback that folds people.
Ile nundu.
Nundu, yeah. He said he remembers those 2. So if I can, and he says I've tried it on 2-3 people and it has worked. Would you want me to try it on you? Spoke to my father.
Okay.
My father said, okay. So on 17th of November, 1997.
Okay.
In December 1997, he told me to stop the Aga Khan, the European medicine, and he would put me on the traditional brew. The traditional thing was they would boil a pot to boil. You would put the herbs in a point, then he can kufunika na hiyo. And then when you finish, he had some pollen grains from the same plant which you would insert in your nose.
Sneeze it out.
Sneeze and what have you, morning, evening. The interesting thing is that from that was the last day I had a fit.
Oh, wow. Today
is more than 30 years. So technically I'm cured. But I was told there's no cure for
epilepsy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why I could not make it to the priesthood. Because they never satisfied me. Yeah.
Okay.
So that was it. I really wanted to be a priest.
So if that didn't happen, you would be a priest?
Remote area. Doing basic pastoral work.
Why priest what out?
No, see, I'm a fellow of high consumption.
Yeah.
I just want to see people being served.
Okay.
Yeah. So my idea of a priesthood was largely a pastor. I was not interested in the administration like bishops and what have you.
Okay.
My flock out there, and then maybe and they look after me. The sun rises and sets.
Okay. Is this why you later went and did a diploma in mechanical and automotive engineering?
I went and did that after, because now at that time when I came back in Nairobi,
yeah,
they said the intakes and whatever, they said you lost your chance. You cannot be. I went and did automotive engineering, a diploma.
Yeah, took. Yeah.
It's not called the technical university.
Yeah, no, technical university. Oh wow.
But I retained in scholarship.
Okay.
Yeah, I read a lot. I also write. I still write. I'm not just produced, but I write plays.
Yeah.
I've published a number. Some have been set books here, and I think four of my works are included in the Black Drama series in the US. They are taught in colleges there. Nice. So napatanga kitu kidogo hapo kando kidogo hivi namna hii. Namna hii. Labda inanisaidia kuavoid kwenda kuchukua mlungula.
Okay. Alrighty. Let's take a short commercial break. You have the video for Gold Child Media. Yeah, play it for me, and then we come back now. Now we take a switch. Now let's go now to ingia sasa pale kwa activism now full. Welcome to Goldchild Media Institute, where talent meets opportunity. This is the place where your media dreams come alive. And guess what? We've got something for everyone. Do you love the camera? We offer videography and photography classes. Action! Shoot! Take Jesus. Nimepiga nani picha. And for those who love music production, yes, we have the course. Mpaka wale wama chiki 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 anguka sound and graphic design. And trust me, this is just the start. We offer so much more. Over here at Goldchild, it's all practical learning, no boring theory. Basically, here at Goldchild Media Institute, we prepare you with the real skills for you to thrive in the real world.
At Goldchild, I feel like a pro already.
Enroll today by dialing the number on the screen and find us in Nairobi, Development House 11.
Yes, but these are fungus.
Oh, it was that bad?
My body was all blisters.
Like this?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I took off my body, took off my clothes almost like that, but they're clearing.
That thing works overnight?
It grows overnight. It's just a mushroom. I'm told it's a mushroom. It grows overnight.
So ina grow kwako? Na pia uzishinda kama isimama the whole night. Wow. Okay, welcome back. We are here with the senator from Busia, Senator Okiya Omtatah. Conversation is now getting more interesting. Wow. All right. So just before we get into the nini of it, I want us to just throw in it that he really loves rumba. Yeah, na Madilu system. So I love Madilu because my dad used to love Madilu, and I really wanted to do a lot of things to please him. So I used to be like, hey, anything anapenda mimi napenda. Somehow I love Madilu and Salomon.
Your father called me saying I should come on your show.
Ah,
Yeah.
you know my father? What the? Serious?
Yeah, that was last year. So you really want me on your you really want me on your show? Your father called me and said, "Why didn't you do?"
My father? Mugani?
Ule alipiga simu. Nakasema ni baba yako.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. I didn't know, but uko na mapua yake, so we might be related. Yeah. So I used to like Madilu, so I had Madilu as my ringtone. Then Omosh stole my ringtone. Omosh is my peer. This guy standing here. So his ringtone was my ringtone for the longest. So kuna time simu yake inalia naenda kupiga yangu. I had to change mine. Ringtone thug. Why do you love rumba so much?
I think there could be many reasons. In that, one, I like seeing raw talent at work.
Okay.
And I think one thing that these people used to pull off, those live bands that they used to pull off is there's a lot of they play very good rhythm. I also like to understand what they're saying. Then I don't waste my time agreeing or disagreeing with what is being said. So I just
Oh, wow. That is a way to look at it.
you know, like when I went to begin at the time this translations began coming up, And I began one time I went and looked. One of my best songs is Asda.
Okay.
Vewe. Just to realize that Vewe, it means VW, and Asda is Mazda. So Frank was comparing these two machines, and I said, now, the losers there. I know the go for translation.
Wow. So unyimbeni siwaelewi,
Yeah.
but is good. I like the vibe. Okay. But amuzina mayaya hiyo naye ni nini? Maombi. Ndio umejua. Amuzina.
Yeah, I know it.
Eli papa, eli mwana, eli pepe santo, muzina ni na. Hiyo ni maombi. Hiyo hata usi stress nayo. Alrighty, now let us begin. First of all, mbona hujabai gari mpya? I saw your car somewhere online. Kuna ka accident ilifanyika mahali.
Yeah, a car is just a system of levers to get you from point A to point B. There's nothing hearing.
Yeah.
So I understand what a car is inside and out.
Okay, sasa
I'm not an idiot.
Unafanya na nikai kama sijui gari. Sasa you don't see yourself buying like a Defender. Leo Millicent Omanga amepost Defender ingine hapo.
It is idiocy. If you are going to celebrate livers, a car is just livers.
I refuse. No. There is an automobile. You've said it. So, Nini, there's
Now, the other thing kitu Omanga amenunua, sio zero mileage. Second hand, mtu ameitupa. It's a castaway.
Surely.
Go to the Kenyan road. The only place you get when you see a zero mileage car on the Kenyan roads, most 90%,
Yeah.
GOK or county government. It's a dumping yard for Japan. Hakuna gari mpya hapo. No nonsense. So why should your junkyard be better than my junk? If we junk, we just junk. You know, I've written a play called The Chains of Junkdom, where I exploded the clock and the calendar and begin using this kind of funny thing that we look around. You'll understand. Junk of junk is junk. So whether my junk is a Mercedes-Benz and your junk is a Range Rover and her junk is a Demio, it's junk. Omanga aringe na zero mileage ndio tujue amenunua gari.
Alibai Bentley.
No,
You didn't see the Bentley?
Mutumba. So you're going to parade Mutumba that
Atatoa receipt uone zero mileage.
The day I can afford a zero mileage, I'll buy. I can buy. But if I can't, come on, kununua Mutumba na nunua the cheapest Mutumba. That's how when you have some brain.
Okay, sawa. So ni nini nyingine ununuangi mpya? Manguo? Luku, do you wear imported, you know?
My obsession is with underpants.
Mama County.
I have more than I have more than 300 underpants, and I've got a system of dressing. I wear them. Like today, I'll finish the cycle today of 300 underpants. I'm beginning again. That is something, and I do it very important because if you can keep your underpants clean and untorn, then you're organized. But wengine wanafanya vitu vingine ajabu.
A little air conditioning in the nini kwani? How bad is a little air conditioning now? For real, you're obsessed with underpants.
Whenever I go, I must buy underpants. Hata juzi nimekuwa Tanzania, nimenunua karibu 10. Sijafungua.
Unaweza kuwa na ma boxers nini? Oh wow, that's interesting.
And white.
Zote ni white. Sasa unajuaje ni gani umeshavaa?
Ziko kwa compartments.
Oh,
Batches. Navaa in batches.
oh my God.
There's nothing as good as a sparkling white underpants.
Yeah. Do I have any white? Imagine I don't have any white boxer. Wow, that's interesting. One of my members bought me a white boxer back in the day. Nilikuwa naangalia niko sitaki kuona. Inachoma. Ilikuwa inabana. Oh wow, na socks?
Socks I mix color.
Oh.
At one time I used to imitate Thurgood Marshall.
Okay.
Who was a Supreme Court judge in the US.
Okay.
He always wore white socks.
Okay.
I used to do that, but now getting good white socks. Unapata nyingi ni za shule. Hapa Kenya.
Umezana ukiingia pale ni za shule kupata soksia white normal. Oh, so at least you're a mix.
Yeah, so kama kupata, I used to like fruit of the loom. That used to be my choice.
Okay. Is it like when you are in your childhood ulikuwa umemisana maboxer ama ni nini? Is it like a new childhood trauma? Ya kuba ni nime laruga. When I'm grown up, all my money is spent on undergarments.
When I was growing up, I remember I lost a lot of shirts. I never liked shirts. So I could leave home with a shirt and come back without. I never liked wearing shirts. I just liked to bare chest.
Kimoda.
Yes. So nilikuwa viboko. Nimewacha shati sijui nimewacha wapi.
Unacheza ball, umeacha shati huko.
Nimeacha shati. So I used to do shirts.
Oh wow. Okay. Aya. Fast forward, you also became a teacher. You've lived there.
I think you should qualify it an untrained teacher.
Oh, okay.
I never trained as a teacher.
Nika transition period.
Naenda nakaa na mwalimu anakuambia leo kuna kitu inaitwa lesson scheme. Hujawahi kusikia na wewe ni mwalimu. teaching scheme. Unafanywa kama mnaenda wewe ni mwalimu. No. They're just destroying kids.
So you destroyed kids for how long?
2 years.
Ulikuwa unafunza nini?
I used to teach mathematics.
Yeah.
That has always been my strong area. And a bit of English. But I also had a passion for football.
Okay.
And I achieved a feat. I was teaching in a primary school.
Okay.
I achieved a feat whereby I trained a primary school team to a point where the biggest school we had there was St. Paul Samkura Secondary School.
Okay.
And my primary school team beat St. Paul Samkura hands down during a tournament.
Oh, wow.
That was an achievement I had. Coaching. With a blackboard. Not just coaching.
Unachora game.
Read the game. Ukipiga mpira this angle to take this curve. Those kind of things.
Speaking of
and I used to play football and I liked the bicycle kick.
Ulikuwa unapiga bicycle kick?
Hiyo ilikuwa my signature. Then one time when I was about 42 or something, I got a perfect cross. Then I could not get off the ground. To execute the bicycle. Then I realized I was old.
Kwa kichwa umeenda bicycle.
Yeah, lakini
mwili imebaki kwa
ground. I could not defy gravity. Then I said, I think that's the point when I realized I had grown old.
Sema wacha niwachane nayo.
Lakini bado nasakatanga kidogo.
Okay.
Ya kuzuia tumbo.
Isi nini?
Kuwa na kitambi.
Upendi kitambi? Kitambi ni ya babu.
Ushasikia mtu akitambi kikoroma usiku? I care about my neighbors. Ndio maana sitaki kitambi.
Okay. So since you're talking football, kati ya Man U na Arsenal.
I don't watch those things. I watch Gor Mahia. I watch Tusker. I'm a nationalist. This thing has destroyed our local game.
So
bado Japan Arsenal at nini hiyo? At least ni Arsenal.
Arsenal damu.
Nini hiyo?
Man U bure kabisa.
Nini hiyo?
What
I only watch continental games, the World Cup.
Okay.
And whatever. But this affiliation to clubs.
Hakuna.
And when I go to watch those games, I just watch them.
Face value. See how to
read the game. To enjoy the moves.
Okay.
The triangles, the curves, the loops.
Wewe na Baba County ni hapa. Baba County unajua ni wa Chelsea. Mtu hawezi ongea baji ya Chelsea hapa ndani. Caleb tusaidie na Serviette tafadhali. Tusaidie na Serviette tafadhali. Oh, ziko hapa? Oh, okay. All right, this show has also been powered by Mozart Bet. I want you to get on the system now and you get to try this good side. By the way, there's a casino jackpot that is ongoing for 2 million Kenya shillings and is up for grabs, and it just might be you. Na kwa wale wengine unaweza kungurumisha ndege pia. The details of how to join us is on the screen. In about a week or two like this, I might be coming to your area. Nikupata kama uko pale, I might be giving you some goodies. So watch out for that one. We are honored to be having the senator from Busia, and we are catching up on his upbringing. But now we want to tackle the elephant in the room. Now let's talk Kenya. Let's talk this government. Let's talk our problems, and let's talk solutions. Let's just list kwanza. What are our problems as a country as at now?
Rule of law.
Rule of law.
Nothing else.
It's just one. People are bending it.
We have the skills. We have got everything we need.
Okay.
But we have this. We even have the law, but we disregard.
Tumeweka tu kando nasema guys tubambanye bambanye.
Yeah, we have got the law, and all we need to do, and even Ruto can do it today.
Yes.
President Ruto, just go back and say we want to implement the rule of law. And the law we are talking about, the primary law is the Constitution, is the foundation. And it's a foundation not because that's how it is. If I go back to one thing that influences my thinking is Christianity, and especially if you look at the Old Testament, where we talk of the way creation was done, we're told that on creation day, all that God has created was good. Then he finished, and then he created man on the sixth day, and he gave man dominion over all that he has created. Man, Adam and Eve were given dominion over all that was created. But they were told they'd be governed by the law. They would not govern themselves. They would be governed by the law. And he said, thou shalt not eat the fruit or whatever. You know the story. So the day they went and broke the law, they lost paradise. And every day I sit and say, why didn't Adam and Eve just say no?
Okay.
Had they said no, we would still be in paradise.
Okay.
So when you come and look at Moses, the story of Exodus, first of all, Abraham, there's a covenant God does with Abraham. It's a law. They make an agreement, the contract. There is a contract. Then you come to Moses, you find that when he went up the mountain, he was given the law. When he came down, he found people already, he had become practical. They were worshipping idols. And what was the idol made of?
It was a golden calf.
Gold. They were worshipping gold. And so, whatever happened, it happened, and it worked like that, and you go on, and you'll find that when you come to Samuel, the sons of Samuel became judges, and they became corrupt. So the people went to God and said, give us a king, so you can be like other nations. They were given a king and said the kings will do this and that. But all through you'll find that the law lies at the center of organizing human society. Even if you go through our traditional societies, you have got taboos. You've got this and that. You cannot do this, you don't do that. So that law, that the concept that human society is governed by law, it's very, very ingrained in me. And now we have got this beautiful constitution, which was mutilated a bit some time back. It lost quite a bit of its power, but whatever is left is the mother law. So we need to go to that constitution and implement it. And implementing it is to begin by creating the institutions that this constitution has created and doing them faithfully. We have failed to do that. We have done a very haphazard job in terms of implementing the constitution. For example, today we are crying that parliament is powerless. And I sit there and I agree. I've seen transactions take place. Small transactions that sometimes we are able to, the transactions in Gikomba make more sense than the transactions in parliament. Because in Gikomba you can walk away with the Mutumba that will serve you. In parliament, sometimes the transactions are meaningless. They destroy you. So, why are MPs powerless? MPs are powerless because the way the constitution was implemented, we forgot the parliament. We have done one thing. We have not locked. We have not taken control of public money from the executive. The way the constitution designs it, whereby I think it's Article 225, Clause 1. It's very clear that Parliament shall establish the national treasury. We have failed to do that. The treasury remains to be part of the Ministry of Finance. The President appoints the Minister of Finance. The President appoints the PS of Finance. And these are the bosses of the treasury. So the President has control of the treasury. And through that control of the treasury, the President is a provider of goods. Right now, I think the President is in my county. I'm not going to for that whatever tamasha. He's going to be there. He's going to give out goodies or promise goodies. He's only able to do that because he has got access and he can take money from the treasury and reward somebody, ignoring the budget that Parliament has made. So for a local MP, your people elect you with expectations. When you campaign, MPs are elected. So how power is acquired and how power is retained in this country is through a political campaign where you make promises. And those promises usually come in terms of goodies. Now, under the design of the Constitution, the MP should be able to take those promises and legislate them into a budget, give it to the control of budget to implement, then the people will get the goodies. But today, the budget is done, it's put aside. What runs the country is the mind of the president. When you go somewhere, people line up shopping lists. Even yesterday, I saw a bit clear clip of Kapondi when he was there, wherever he was, those sides, saying this secondary schools needs this, we need this road here, we need this here, we need this there, we need it. That's an MP kneeling before a president for goodies. Because his survival depends on that. So, but if we had done the decent thing of separating the treasury, putting it under a national treasurer, and locking all our taxes away, so that president akiwa broke apigie Omtatah simu aseme Omtatah unaweza kuwa na ka 50 nimalizie wiki. But today he just calls the PS and money can come out. So unless we do that, we shall never sanitize Parliament because the MPs will be exposed. Either match or oppose. When the president appears and is promising your people goodies, you cannot stand up and say, my friend, let us put that in the budget. Ideally, it would be that if a president went to a place and the people said, we have got a problem here that needs money, he would say, where's the MP? Can you put this thing in the next budget? Or if it is very urgent, can you go to Parliament and initiate a supplementary budget so that Parliament can authorize money to come and fix this problem? Today, the president can go anywhere and declare an amount of money and it will be done. So the budget Parliament passes is irrelevant. So the MPs become powerless, members of Parliament, and the senators, they're just flower girls.
Yeah.
And so that's where the problem is. It's a design problem. So go and fix that. The judiciary. There's a judiciary fund supposed to be created. The Chief Justice should not go to meet the president to ask for more funds in the budget.
Yeah.
There should be a judiciary fund that takes a percentage of the budget every year. So the judges should be totally, their funding should be anchored at the constitution mandates. Then you'll want to have an independent judiciary. You don't do that, you will not get an independent, because at the end of the day, these people need to run their programs. They'll go to who has the cake and the knife, as Achebe would say. So we must take the cake away, the cake and the knife away from the president. Let him do his mandate. Let Parliament legislate, pass a budget, and give him the budget to implement. Today, they said that if you take any budget of any year, You know, I've been reading the budgets for those years from 2013.
Yes.
There's something called the Statement of Actual Revenue
Okay.
and Net Expenditure, which the Treasury publishes every month. Now, when you take that statement and you hold it against what the Parliament passed as a budget, you realize that the budget Parliament passed is just a PR, just a formality. The real budget being implemented is a budget in the mind of the president and the mandarins in the treasury and what have you. So, unless we drain that swamp, we'll never be able to get the politics of this country right. So we need to begin with fixing recognizing that we have got a good constitution,
Okay.
which doesn't need amendments.
Okay.
A good constitution that needs implementation. Then number two, that implementing that constitution is creating all those institutions that the constitution anticipates. And then in creating those institutions, then now we can talk about the caliber of people running those institutions. But not saying that you are going to change Ruto with Raila or Ruto with Kalonzo and the country is going to change. No. We must change this country from the level of systems. And that's why, for me, it's the rule of law and nothing else. And even like when we look at, like somebody was complaining the other day that all our commissions have failed. What is wrong? But I told my friend, can you look at philosophically? Look at this thing philosophically. Conceptually, is it possible for an ad hoc committee to give you an independent commission? Right now, where are we stuck? In the IBC? Membership of an ad hoc committee. Why would anybody fight in the courts tooth and nail to be on that committee? Because there are rewards. He's going to gain anything. And if it's a question of going to make your hay when the sun is shining, they will choose the highest bidders. So if we want to have independent commissions, we must go back and ask ourselves, how do you constitute an independent commission? An ad hoc committee cannot. Today, if I ask you, which committee gave you Chemkat? Who were in the committee that gave you Chemkat? Can you ask anybody, how did you Chemkat come here? How did Charara come here? How did so-and-so come here? We don't know, because these people are, what do you call, a special purpose vehicle. They're like a bomb, which discharges and disappears. So once the commission is elected, they disappear. But if we are doing like other countries do, and I'm talking about Brazil, when they constitute their commission,
Okay.
and South Africa, I've looked at them, how they do them. You find that they use establishments, like they would say, the bodies to constitute the commissions, maybe the judiciary, maybe this so and so, this organ. People are holding positions. Now, when these people hold positions and they are told to constitute a commission, they will know that if they give us people who are going to mess, the back ends with them. You are the Chief Justice. Why did you give us this individual? Why did you give us this? So that's one thing that is lacking. And even now, we are fighting for that. So unless we go back and deal with that conceptual question, whether an ad hoc committee can give us an independent commission, we shall never get the promise of the Constitution. So those are among the things that we do. So to implement, to get, and that's part of the rule of law that we must deal with. Then now look at also the commissions have just become bureaucracies. A commissioner was here, transferred the other commission, transferred the other commission, transferred the other commission. They just recycled and played around. So in fact, it's become incestuous that the commissioners are in breeding, if I may use the word. Just incestuous when you look at what's happening in that area.
Okay, inbreeding is not.
They're inbreeding because they don't bring us any new ideas. So that with the mistake from there, it's brought here, that is brought here. So the whole thing is just a mess. Yeah. But it's a question of going back to the basic design, the basic concepts, and getting these things right. So even as we're fighting with the IBC, at the end of the day, these fellows who are fighting to be on that panel, when they succeed, atasema nimechoma pesa kotini, Hii pesa pale kikapa lazima recover.
Lazima
So the candidates come and he said, okay, uko na ngapi?
Okay.
Uko na ngapi? Uko na ngapi? At the end of the day, you'll get a commission of the highest bidders who have been put there. Or somebody outside says, hiyo ni mtu yangu, shika hii. Hakikisha mtu ameingia.
Speaking of this, do you see 2027 happening?
It will happen.
We still don't have IEBC.
The ballot or the bullet. It will happen.
It will not be
The
Songezwa
ballot
because there are
or
some
the,
people.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
if anybody thinks that there will be no election in 2027, he will get a bullet.
Yeah.
So we are going to either have the ballot or the bullet in 2027. It's not negotiable.
You know, there are people who are thinking that itasongezwa mbele kidogo because wanasema, you know, the IBC needs about 2 years to put the boundaries, nini, reconstitute themselves well. So if we start now until 2027, we are already behind time.
No, there's no law that requires that.
Yeah.
What Kriegler said,
Yeah.
that for all intents and purposes, to give the devil his due. Okay?
Okay.
At least constitute your electors 2 years before an election so that they can familiarize themselves with the terrain.
Okay.
But it's not in law. You can have an IBC elected today and we run elections tomorrow.
Ah.
Yeah. It's not in law unless there are procedures here and there. So that can happen. But let me tell you and mark my words.
Okay.
Anybody playing with 2027 is the ballot or the bullet. There are no two ways about it.
Okay.
I'm not a prophet.
Do you
But that's
see
the
the current president, winning again in 2027?
Depends on how you define winning.
Becoming president
And
again?
saying winning again. He didn't win last time. Look at his certificate. Take that certificate and put on a spreadsheet. Why doesn't the maths add up?
Okay.
The certificate the president has, the maths, the additions are wrong. So if the additions are wrong on the certificate, how did he win?
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you see him now
Retaining, I will not say he can't retain the presidency
Okay.
if there's no challenge to the grip on power.
Okay.
But I think there are opportunities and possibilities that will make it a given that there will be a change of power in 2027.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was having a conversation with your missus, and she was of the opinion that the Senate is limiting you to do a lot of things, because if you look at the way you are now, it's more like you're a lone ranger. When you bring up something kidogo, you can't defend it by yourself. The numbers are kidogo, the odds are against you. She has the feeling that you would perform better in a bigger platform. Would you consider presidency 2027?
Well, I'm considering it.
Okay.
Yeah, because we have to have the courage of our convictions.
Okay.
I don't think that the question of changing this country will be answered without somebody who totally believes in the rule of law.
Okay.
And institution builder, and builds the real institutions. He creates that treasury that's controlling our money to a point whereby the president has got no control over it. You come up and even set up, like if you look at some of the provisions of the Constitution, we're supposed to have a sovereign wealth fund. We don't have those kind of things. To begin endangering a culture of saving. To begin living within our means. And you see there's something very funny that happened. You've heard of something called a debt ceiling in this country.
A debt?
Debt ceiling.
Or debt selling. Okay.
They're selling. That is a limitation. You can't borrow like that. Now I think they want to again expand it. That's another problem. Ignorance. A whole parliament sits down and says it's going to be a debt ceiling. When you put a debt ceiling, are things that come from the American system, where Congress is left with a lot of freedom to do whatever they owe over money. In our constitution, it's very prescriptive. Under Article 220, Clause 1, a B and C, it's very clear that one, in the budget, within the budget,
Yeah.
you declare your borrowing and you justify it. And then you saw how it will impact on the debt ceiling. So when you create a debt ceiling and say the government is allowed to have a debt ceiling, then you are allowing the government to borrow from outside the budget. And you are allowing these odious debts. But every budget has an inbuilt debt ceiling. Parliament must rationalize that budget and say, is what the government proposing to borrow reasonable? Is it justified? Can we afford it? Is it necessary? But now, you find that now we are having two debt ceilings. The one that is in the budget, Parliament has approved that can be borrowed in the year. Then they are saying, government cannot borrow beyond this line. So this one that now is outside the law is what people are using to bring all this mischief, all those kind of things, and allowing them to put money offshore. So concepts like debt ceiling need to be dealt with. Another concept is coming in, which is really being pushed by the accountants. They are talking about pending bills. And I'm saddened to say that the Senate passed a motion by numbers. Some of our voices were lone voices, which says that pending bills, you've heard of pending bills, that pending bills in counties are going to be a first charge on the county revenue fund. So that when a county receives money, the first thing it must do is to pay pending bills. Okay. And they are borrowing from Article 214 of the Constitution, which says public debt is a charge on the consolidated fund, part 1. Yeah. Part 2, it defines what public debt is as loans and the cost of incurring them and interest, which is now, that's what constitutes the public debt. There's no public debt in me flying first class around the world and creating a debt with Kenya Airways, and then I say it's a pending bill, and therefore it's a public debt. That is not a public debt. And so the pending bills where people have done, supplied goods, have done this, have done whatever on recurrent expenditure, cannot be a charge on the county revenue fund. But the whole Senate voted. My lone voice was just swallowed. So that's what's going to happen from next year. And you see that now is that we are going to create, the law is very clear that you cannot have a day, you don't borrow to finance consumption.
Yeah.
So already now a pending bill was consumption. So we are going now to say that it becomes a direct charge on the consolidated fund, which means you are borrowing to finance consumption. So all these small issues that come to us are things that we need to look at, and that's why I'm saying the rule of law. So we need to really understand the architecture, the design of the Constitution. It's like I come to your house, my brother. I'm a villager. I'm used to having a toilet about 1 kilometer away from the main house. And sometimes I've got challenges of using it at night. I have to sit the night through before. For fear of darkness. Then I come to your place and say, my friend, I think I feel to answer the call of nature. Where can I? When you say, okay, use that room. Then I go there and I say, you mean you can have a toilet inside the house? When I go back to my village, I'm going to build a self-contained house. Okay?
Okay.
So nasema, fundi wako wapi? Fundi wako. Nataka nyumba yenye iko na choo. Sitaki kwenda nje. Then you say, lakini nataka watu wajue niko na choo kwa nyumba. Nitaweka choo kwa sitting room. You have everything, but is it functional?
Is it practical?
It's impractical. That's the point. Or I come to your place and you serve me a very good plate of onyoyoro, as you call it, githeri. Iko na mahindi, iko na maragwe na nini. Sema na hii kitu na nini? Naambia hii ni maragwe. Hii ni mahindi. So ration hii. Natangulia kuchemsha labda mahindi ifike na alafu naweka maragwe. Alafu nanipea mahindi na nanipea maragwe. Mimi nikitembea naona posho mbili kwa njia. Naamua kusiaga mahindi. Nikienda nyumbani nitapika githeri kweli?
Nope.
You see. So we must think through issues. We must think through issues and be able to understand. If you look at the levies now, I was in Tanzania the other day.
Yeah.
Petrol is 30 shillings cheaper than Kenya. In Arusha. Nairobi, Mombasa, and Arusha is to the coast. Yeah. Where we raise the taxes. Look at today's Business Daily, the top page. They say in Ndindi Nyoro, the MP, this is a statement of fact, it's on the paper. Okay. Ndindi Nyoro, in September last year, had shares of 30 million, worth 30 million in Kenya Power. Today, they have risen to 200 million, the value. Now, that translates to the cost of power. When you begin profiteering in such a sensitive and critical entity, then when Kenya Power is making those billions in terms of profit, my friend, the rest of the economy is hurting. We cannot compete with other countries which have slumped down on the cost of power because it's a vital ingredient in production. Yeah. So we have got those kind of things that come up, and we need to address them and say, if we want to develop, let us imitate the developed. Yeah. There are things they do. There's efficiency in systems, there's all those kind of things, there's discipline, there's education, and what have you. And so that we are able to develop the way they've done. We are not going to develop any other way. Somebody tells you that the African way. There's no African way. There's just the human way to development. There's no African way of landing a rocket on the moon. There's no Chinese way of landing a rocket on the moon. There's no Russian way of landing a rocket. The science is one.
It's one.
So we must wake up from that thing. And one of the phrases I hate hearing is that we are Africans. We are human beings. We have got to do these things the way others have done them. We have to succeed. We have to make our people rich. We cannot afford to have a country with a per capita income of $1,900. When I was in Texas, in Austin, the Secretary of State asked me, how that poor can you be? How do you survive on that kind of money? And look at our people. They are living in squalor. The level of poverty in this country is hidden. And right now, the littlest, if anybody in the middle class, hata wewe sasa hivi kichukua tu mpesa yako hivi niangalie.
Kisha.
Hiyo mpesa yako imeenda kulipia mtu school fee, imeenda pande. So you are subsidizing a big chunk of the society. It should not be like that. You should be saving that money and thinking of material progress. So we must make the best rich. We must come up with a way of saying, what do we need to do to make our people rich? How do we move Kenyans from $1,900 per capita, GDP per capita, to 30,000 GDP per capita? It can be done. What are we getting wrong? When you look at these fictitious debts that are killing this country, whereby now the highest item we are financing is repaying debt. Nothing else, 70% almost, is going to pay debt repayment. Then you realize we cannot move. So we must come back, look each other in the face, and say, this is where we are going. Statements like agriculture is the backbone of the economy must go. Agriculture should give us food security. We must be able to support our farmers the way the military gives us security. How much does the military produce? Or the police? Their production is invisible, but they give us security. That's why we pay for everything they do. We must also look at our farmers in that construct,
food security,
and make sure that our farmers provide us with food security. We invest in them, we support them, we give them a living wage. Because, my friend, if you go to the farms today, the poorest paid people are working on the farms. Even some owners of the farms are very poor today.
True.
So we must move this country into a service industry, and we are strategically located. We have got very good English, which is a global language. We are strategically located. We have got very well educated people, PhDs all over, masters all over, doing border and whatever. We must then tap into this knowledge base to create a proper service industry that will create new wealth away from the ground. People are landing on the moon. People are taking title deeds on Mars. We are here still dealing with jiggers in our legs. We must look up.
If you look at the manifesto for One Wajakoya, when he was campaigning, he was talking about Indian hemp, Bangi. He was saying the way it makes sense that it can help us get some money to pay our debts and also boost the economy. Have you checked on that avenue? Is it feasible?
I've not done that because it's not worth it. What is worth it? I look at Elon Musk. How many acres of land does Elon Musk own?
Okay.
Maybe I own more land than Elon Musk. But where is Elon Musk? The future of wealth is not in extraction from the land.
Okay.
It's in using brain power to locate yourself in this information era. To be innovative, to be whatever. If you look at our budget, how much do we invest in R&D? Our young people are so good in computer and whatever, when you look at what they do, but how much is government investing in them? Instead, the government is taxing them. Government should have set up an incubation centers for research and development. Look at the war in Ukraine. I've been looking at that one. I've said, if Kenya was to be faced with a situation like this, would we survive for a day? Look at how students from colleges and whatever have come and are doing drones, are doing whatever. In this country, I've got a national drama festival. Do we have a national science festival? Do you? Or a national technical festival, technology festival?
Nope.
We must go that direction. That as we do the arts and we are dancing and we are doing all these things, the sciences must be getting very practical. Today, our engineering has become one of the worst courses you can have. Yet engineering is a solution solver. We need to train as many engineers as we can, many doctors as we can, and find ways of deploying them to put this country up. Look at something like roads. We destroyed the Ministry of Roads, broke it up, Kenya Roads Board. You have got Kenya Kura, Kenya Roads Authority. You have Kenya National Highways. You have got Kera. Now, all these fellows are simply processing tenders. Among them, they don't own a wheelbarrow for doing a road. Kenya had the capacity to do roads a few years ago. Why can't we do roads today? Why are we importing roads from China? We are working on roads we don't make. And our engineers are languishing in poverty. Why did we destroy our capacity to build roads? If it was a question of whatever, we should have built our capacity so that even if when we get the Chinese come here to build roads, the skills transfer system. Right now, the Chinese come in with sweepers. Yeah. We are talking of universal health care as if it is something new. When I was growing up, there was universal health care in Kenya. I could present myself as a baby. We used to be taken to clinics. We are given drugs. They used to be Panadols, not packaged, but in bottles. But they all had GOK. GOK. The bottle is GOK. The syrup is GOK. The gloves are GOK.
It was GOK.
Yes. There were government stores were branded. What did that thing do? It blocked theft of government stores. They would be there. The doctors were working. They were in the knee. So the universal health care was being run by taxpayers, not on premiums. In fact, the NHIF was mainly for the employed and whatever. But there was universal health care run on taxpayer funds. government hospitals, government doctors, government stores. Today, you are being told that we are starting universal health care, the SHIF and SHA, based on what? Based on premiums, 2.5% of your gross wealth or something like that, gross income. I will challenge you to look at countries that have got universal health care and show me a single one that uses premiums to run universal health care, and to make matters worse, using private hospitals. Our medical system being run on private hospitals cannot provide universal health care. Premiums, by only nature of premium, that you paid a premium, you have been registered as a member of that thing, automatically means it's not universal. So if you're going to be doing universal health care, let us go and do it the way people else do it. The oldest is the one in Britain, the National Hospital Service. Taxpayer funded. It's like that road that is built by taxpayer fund and anybody can use it. So all you need to do is present yourself to a hospital. The doctors are in hospitals, the government stores are marked. Not like today, you go to a hospital, you are told there are no medicines in the hospital, but the superintendent owns a pharmacy. The medicals are there. Medicines are there.
Yeah.
How sure am I that the government stores that were here, because the Panadol in government and the Panadol in a pharmacy, private pharmacy, are the same? How sure am I that somebody did not pick this money and take in his private kiosk?
True.
So we must create basic stupid things like those. And we must get our doctors back into hospitals. We must take our doctors. When the constitution was being made, if you look at the report of the committee of experts, the final report, there's a place they say, Parliament, the report of the parliamentary group on the constitution, that was where William Ruto sat and what have you. They made an undertaking that they're not going to create the health commission in the constitution, which was like the teacher service commission. They are going to create it in legislation. Doctors, nurses, and all people who work in the delivery of clinical medicine were never intended to be managed by counties. There was supposed to be something like a teacher service commission, just the way TSC posts teachers across the country that will now deal with the human resource of doctors and post them in various places. And that way, a doctor would have room to grow. Doctors, the training of a doctor does not end the day he finishes university.
That's true.
There's a lot of training that takes place in time when they are serving.
Live in action.
They need to move around. They need to go on sabbatical to study. How many counties can afford that? So those are the issues that we are saying that we must address and go back to the basics and make sure that we get the issues in this constitution right. So universal health care, if you want universal health care, let it be taxpayer funded. In Thailand, a percentage of VAT goes straight to health.
Well,
Kenya has signed the Abuja Protocol. 2001, we signed it. It says 15% of the budget in every year should go to health. If we did that and branded government stores so that they cannot be stolen, our doctors will be back in hospitals, our public hospitals will be as good as any, and exorbitant bills will not be there. You heard that the NHI was being looted by hospitals. They were not public hospitals. They were private hospitals that were stealing. So we cannot talk of running universal health care on private hospitals. So those are some of the policy issues and whatever that need to be thought through. And I'm telling you that the best way to develop is to imitate.
you can't reinvent the wheel.
No, you can't.
Yeah, you can't reinvent the wheel. You have to see what's working.
Yes.
Let's copy paste.
Yes.
This is working here.
And
Let's
customize.
copy paste. Let's customize it to our needs and our nini, and then you do it.
But
nothing of we create our own.
Nothing. Like there is an African way for this. There's an African way for that. There's no African engineering. There's no European engineering. It's just science.
By the look of things, do you see these things happening?
Yes. With a proper leader, and that's why I want to be president, to get them to happen.
Or they can only happen if you are president.
In the look of things today.
Okay.
But there could be people with better credentials who are going to go out there
Yes.
and begin looking at who are the people. First of all, we want to build the proper vehicle, what we are discussing.
Okay.
We want to put them down as an agenda.
Okay.
Then we look at the best driver. If somebody there who can drive it better than me,
why not?
Why not?
Okay.
But if the people say I'm the best driver available, why not?
Okay.
But right now, we must get that vehicle right. We must look at the forest, not the monkeys.
Okay. When we were talking earlier on, you said like in 2027, we must have elections by ballot or bullet.
Yeah.
So by bullet, you mean?
Anarchy.
Watu wangane. Oh.
Haki yetu, haki yetu.
Hauogopi kusema hizi vitu unaweza abductiwa tena?
Abductions now to where?
You don't fear that unaweza tafutwa nini?
The first thing is that I'm mortal. You know this rosary here?
Yes.
The Hail Mary has got one section.
Okay.
Pray for us now and at the hour of our death.
Okay. So you will
death is not part of the equation. When you die, you are out. You have left the stage.
Okay.
The important thing is to do what you have with your life. Martin Luther King said a very important thing I think on the day he was assassinated. He said, longevity has got its own value. There's value in living to be 99 years. Something like that. I'm just paraphrasing him.
Okay.
But what matters is not whether you die at 99 years or at 39 years that he was. What matters is what you did with your life.
Okay.
Yeah. And as we are told in the gospel, that you will come like a thief. So every day you must be prepared to die. And live every day like the last day of your life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this what you are thinking when that time you went to chain yourself at the police HQ?
Yes, there was a lot of stuff around it.
Why that place alone? Na hiyo nyororo ilitoka wapi? Na hukuogopa risasi?
One thing was to get under their skin because they declared a curfew in Nairobi. No movement, no whatever, you cannot do, whatever. You cannot. I want to tell them you guys are idiots. You cannot say that.
Okay.
Number two, they'd been a shooting, a reckless shooting of people, which was being displayed on the media.
Okay.
Number three, we had received some intelligence that were trying to form something to go and crack down in Eldoret, in Kisumu, Kakamega, which were the epicenters of the resistance.
Okay.
And some people were fearful that that could retaliate, could turn into a bigger mess than we were in. So some of the people reached out and said, why don't you hold a press conference? Okay. Now, remember, Michuki had banned the press conferences.
So you have any...
So I went to the Holy Family Basilica to meditate. And I prayed and prayed and prayed, and I said to God, I'm going to sleep. In the morning, I want to wake up with a formula of what I can do to address the press and tell them what I want to say. So what I did, I went and slept. In the morning when I woke up, it was a
hardware.
Kila kitu ilikuwa very clear in my mind.
And the hardware nyororo.
And also in my prayer, I said, let me not get even a scratch. Protect me.
Okay.
So I went with faith. And then you look at my hand I was having, and it's not this rosary. The one I was having is a rosary I bought in 1980. My father bought for me in 1980.
Yeah.
When we traveled standing third class from Busia by train, we had boarded the train at 2 p.m. We arrived in Nairobi at around 11. Having stood all that time to come and participate in the first visit of the Pope. See the Pope arriving and so on, participate in the Eucharistic celebration. So when we were there, we bought rosaries, and one of the things we did was we held them to the Pope to bless as he was passing. I still have that rosary I bought in 1980. The rosary I had on that day when I was when I changed myself at the police headquarters. So I was able to, and from that chaining, I was able to break the ban. The place on the media.
Yeah.
I was able to I even addressed an international media because when CNN came, what came, so I was able to address the media. I was able to hold my press conference. I had a very heavy padlock. By the time they managed to get that way around it and the chain, I had finished my business. Wamesikiza, nimeshataja, nimesema ile ukora wako nayo kila kitu imetoka nje.
Ilikuwa wapi?
And sikuumia. I want to tell that. I didn't get injured in the whole process. In fact, when they took me to the cell at Central, I was given a mock parade of honor by the policemen. They said, "Mr. You have captured our headquarters." Yaani umetufungia ndani. Wewe ni noma.
Kifungu ilikuwa wapi?
It was staged. You know I'm a playwright.
Okay.
So I do theater, I plan a plot. Kifungu ilikuwa ofisini. Yeah.
Kifungu iko huko.
Yeah. It was. And the first policeman ran and arrived there, looked at it and said, "Ai mzee hapa umetoboa."
Sasa wameenda kununua vitu ya kukata nyororo.
Ilikuja ikajikunja. Wakasema kuna moja sijui City Hall pia ikakuja ikajikunja. They'd use a gas cutter. When I went to buy that chain, unakumbuka ile nakumati niliungua. Niliambia nataka nyororo yenye iweze kukatwa. So akasema nyororo gani? Sasa akasema kuna nyororo ya nanga ya meli hapa tulinunua hajaiuza. Iko futi 14. Mimi nilitaka futi 7. Kasema mnikatie futi 7 kwa sababu nilitaka niweze kukatwa.
Oh wow.
So I had to buy 14 futi 14 badala ya futi 7.
That was an anchor.
Yeah.
Nini chain?
Chain ya anchor.
Na padlock?
Pale nilinunua tu hapo. 2000, it was 2000, I had 10,000 bob. The chain was 500 a meter.
Okay.
In a foot. It was 14 feet. So that came to about 7,000. Padlock was about 2,900. It was about 2,700.
Yeah.
It was exact 2,700.
Okay.
Nikabaki na 300 shillings. Sasa ndio ilikuwa ya taxi.
Bado ukapanda taxi ukienda.
Hiyo kitu ibebeki.
Kwani wewe ni meli? Ulifika hapo saa ngapi?
Around the time it was around 9-ish.
Kwani ukijifunga hawa watu polisi sikio walikuwa wanafanya?
Walikuwa lakini there was a blind spot on that camera which I identified. Hapo ndio niliingilia, lakini pia hiyo taxi ilikuwa na unajua kubeba hiyo kitu ilikuwa nzito. The only place I could carry, this part of the body, it's very strong. Tunaona hata matako iko na maswali ya matako namna hii. Hii inazungusha hii kuivuruta iwe straight. Hii muscle hii. It's very strong. So this part of the body is very strong. So you can carry a lot of weight here.
Okay.
Unlike here or anywhere on the body.
Okay.
So hata ukiona watu wanafanya judo wanashikanga hapo ndio utupe mtu. Yeah, once you dislocate here, you dislocate somebody. So ukienda kushika mguu anaweza kurukaruka. Uzunguke na mguu utamwangusha.
Okay.
So iliweka hiyo chain, niliambia mtu niko na trailer. I didn't tell a lie, I economized on truth. Niko na trailer pale.
That's the word. I didn't lie. I economized on truth. Okay. Kama niko na trailer?
Uko South Sea. Nini hapa nini Nairobi West. Imekuwa nataka kwenda kuvuta, nataka nipeleke nyororo huko. So alitaka shilingi 500. My 10,000 imebaki 300. Negotiate nikasema angalia vile vitu iko. Akasema okay, leta pesa. So I gave him the 300, tukaweka chain kwa kiti. Hakuweka kwa boot. Niliinsist wasiweke kwa boot. The reason was I wanted to sit on this chair and tie it as he's driving. Nifunge hapa. Nibaki na hii. Na padlock. Na niweke padlock pande moja. Nikiingia hivi nikushikanisha hivi. So tukaenda nikamwambia tupite hapo police headquarters. Nataka kuna mtu ananipa, askari anataka kunipa barua hapo. Barua ya kuvuta. Unajua vile mambo yameharibika. Nahitaji barua ya kufuta hivi. Again I economize on the truth there. So okay. Nilipofika pale and the chosen point kama mtu ndio huyo simama. Kafungua mlango nilipotoka. Jamaa drove off, he didn't even wait to close the door. Akajua hapa kimeumana. Then I just went fast and then na kifungua ilikuwa nimeshapeleka kwa ofisi. Mimi nasema hata nimemeza, nilipeleka tu kwa ofisi nikarudi.
So kumeza kifunguo.
Sasa kuwa I'm not an idiot. Akaanza kusacha, akapiga magoti kutafuta kifunguo, walitafuta wakanicheki kila mahali. Katoa viatu wakaangalia. Nyamaza tu.
Kuna mtu alikuweka hata kofi hata moja. Haya.
You know, sometimes you respect more powerful system. Yeah. Na kuna siku tuliingiza chain kwa nini? Unakumbuka kwa Ngeri? Kwa ofisi ya Ngeri, when Ngeri was minister, when we did the first sit-in.
Yeah.
Tukaenda tukaingiza tukafunga ofisi ya Ngeri na chain. Wakasema tumebribe AP. We didn't bribe APs. So tulikuwa tunatumia kakitu chui haka. So tulifuta strong man akaishika kama mwenye amebeba buffalo. Unajua buffalo? Iko hapo ndani. Lakini mtu mzito alikuwa anaitwa George Nyongesa, alikuwa amekula. Kaibeba. Tumepack in magnets. What do magnets do? Electronic warfare. Haka kitu kanakufa, it gets confused, it can't give a sound. Tukapita tukaenda pa kwa Ngeri
Haki mwenye mnapanga tuweka magnet mtu abebe kama brief
kama mbebe mbuffalo. Strong guy. Ndio tukafika huko. Wakaleta majeshi wakaingia kwa ofisi ya Ngeri na walikuwa na grill door, tukaweka nyororo tukawafungia ndani. Akaanza kuomba.
Nilikuwa ulienda maandamano mkaenda kujifungia na nyororo nyingine ya juzi. Hii ilitoka wapi?
Hiyo tu. Nyororo yetu hiyo. Na sio ile ananga ilikuja kashikwa mpaka sasa hawajanirudishia. Sasa hii ndio ilikuwa second installment ununua.
Okay.
Yeah. Sasa hii ndio ilifanyanga maandamano nilikuwa naona.
So taktiki yako ni kujifungia kwa vitu.
Hiyo nini? Hii nyororo tunakuanga naye hii. One of the things it does, it isolates people come to intervene in demos and begin causing mayhem. So doing what wako kwa nyororo. Okay? You move on the chain, you sit down and you lock yourself. So, two, askari. When they come and try to attack you when you're in that position, they become very vulnerable to cameras and what have you. Three, kunyola kama mmeshika nyororo is very difficult. In fact, we had not done practice with these young men. That's why the whole thing was broken. Yeah. Had we done some practice, tulikuwa na 32 people who used to hold that chain. And hatungesongeshwa.
Them they were still new, eh?
They were still
kuna mwingine alikuwa ameshika nika nyororo na muacha.
Wengine walikuwa wanachukua maselfie na nyororo. Hiyo vijana. Unaona ile tiaga zilipiga teke. Hiyo tiaga zilirushwa ikaja right where we were and it was going to explode on us. Nikaambia kijana enda piga hiyo kitu. Kijana akaanza kupiga selfie na tiaga zinaenda kulipuka. Sasa tujambe bali and kick the tiaga.
Ndio rudi kwa nyororo.
So the young guy was streaming live. In Gen Z. It's fun.
So you want the eyeballs. You want people to see it.
Yes. So that's how it works. Okay. But it prevents violence. We don't want to have a violent demo.
Yeah.
We don't want property to be destroyed. And then you choose also location where the police's maximum power cannot be used. Because the maximum power of the police that is not lethal is the water cannon. Unajua unaona pale tuliingia hapo Aga Khan walk. Hiyo ikitapita wapi? Manyumba kila mahali. Inabaki huko Harambee Avenue.
Strategy. Mkijiweka penye inaweza pita ni nyinyi sasa.
That's why I say science.
Very important.
Very important.
Okay.
Do things in a scientific way. Don't be magicians. There's no magic.
Okay.
The universe does not run on magic. The universe runs on physics.
So true.
Yeah.
So true.
So that is also embodied the idea of dealing with physics. Wow. The only thing that can kill you is a spear in your body or poison in your food. Not somebody performing rituals and what have you and incantations that mean nothing. They will not harm you.
Okay. So I want us now to come and as we wrap up to talk about the split between Rigathi and Ruto. And also let's talk about the president kidogo kama kona economies you called it. Economizing the truth. I don't talk about that, but before that, let me talk to my
Now, you
about,
see, economizing the truth is used in a context where power is against you. You remember the story of the hare and the tortoise?
Okay.
Umeambiwa ati wewe bwana hare and the tortoise, you are going to go on a race.
Yeah.
And your life in this forest depends on winning in the race.
Yeah.
So there are two versions of it, which say that the colonial version that came to distort it says that the hare takes off, looks back, falls asleep, but the tortoise keeps on doing the hard work until it wins. And when the hare wakes up, it has lost the fight. That narrative, it does not take power away from the oppressor.
Yeah.
What happens if the hare did not fall asleep? The tortoise will not have won the race. Now, a tortoise is faced with an extreme injustice of raising a hare. So as a moral philosopher, what does he do in that context? Does he concede and die? He turns injustice on its head. There was no justice in the first place of saying a hare and a tortoise should rise.
Yeah.
So he turns injustice on its head. He networks. He creates a network of relatives. At every corner there's a tortoise, plus the winning post. That's the original African story, the trickster tale.
Yes, yes.
So the trickster is not immoral. He's slightly amoral.
Okay.
He uses injustice against itself.
Okay.
Another one, you are told that a hippopotamus challenged is it a squirrel or something to a tug of war? Okay? Where is justice in that? So when the squirrel uses his brain and says, give me the end of the road, I'm going to tie it on a boulder. So you can meet your equal. And then sits to watch. That's not lying. That's economizing on the truth.
Okay.
So the context, as a moral philosopher, the context is that one. So that the issues come. Now, when you want now to talk of a man in power, economizing on truth, what injustice is he facing? Okay. What existential threat is he facing that requires him to act in a way? So now you can ask your question about on truth within that context of economizing on truth.
Copied. He's not economizing on truth. All right. Before we get to that one, as we are winding down, let me talk to you about Stanford School. If you've done your KCSE, na huku perform vizuri sana, you want to retake it. Ama umekuwa nje ya shule for a minute, you want to go back and finish that course. Unajua KCSE 844 system inaisha because hii ni CBC. Umeona venye mambo imegeuka, lakini ile 844 system inaisha. Na unataka umalizie, na ama umekuwa out of the country and now you're back and you want to get your certificate from the KCSE from the 844 system. I want you to join Stanford School, and this is why. Check this out.
So
this is Stanford Bridging School. For those of us who did 844 system and in their KCSE, they did not perform well for one reason or another, or there's like a subject you feel you need to improve on, you can take it again with us. And remember, in 2027, KCSE, the 844 system, inaisha. Yeah, that's where it is finitoing. So you can take it again, register now. Because by 2027, you'll not have a chance of doing it again. If you've been out of school for maybe like 3 years, you still have a chance. Come back and get to do it over here at Stanford Bridging School. And by the way, for the British curriculum, the Cambridge option, we offer the A levels and also the O levels. You can get to register with us if you are a student from outside the country or you're just from within, but you want to be international. Yeah. Alrighty. All right, there you have it. So tell your people to join Stanford School wamalizana. It's a bridging school. So usikuwe na wasiwasi ati mathematics niliona giza nini, you can still go and just do that mathematics, then unafanya ile mambo yako. Alrighty. We are hosting a senator from Busia, Senator Okiya Omtatah, na mambo imekuwa inachemuka, but it's about to chemuka even more. A lot of people don't trust the president. No matter what he says, watu wako zile za who is advising the president? Who is advising? I'm like, sisa ingine aseme kama ile story ya gas, mtungi ya gas. Oh, mama mboga hawa nini. Do you think the president is a truthful man? From what
I
you see?
didn't look at it in terms of that, because when you read the Gospels,
Yes.
I think the Gospel of John, his rendition of the trial of the Christ,
Okay.
there's a place whereby Pilate asked Christ,
Okay.
when Christ talked about the truth. He said, "What is the truth?" And before Christ could answer it, a soldier slapped him. So the answer to what is the truth, we don't know. But Christ said, "I'm the truth, the light, and whatever." So there was going to be an exposition of what Christ meant by that if the soldier had not slapped him, according to the gospel. So I try to avoid that truth. That's why when I'm taken to court, and I've been charged many times for these demos, sometimes they frame a question is, they read a charge sheet and they say true or false.
By the way.
I always tell them, no, this court has got no capacity to establish the truth.
Oh, wow.
The question should be guilty or not guilty. Meaning, is there enough evidence to convict me? I will answer the question of guilty or not guilty, not the question of true or false.
So unakatanga kujibu.
Nakataa mpaka wa refresh. I'm going to change charge sheet.
And they do that.
Yeah, I don't plead. How can you ask me nonsense?
It's true or false.
Yeah, that's nonsense. Should ask me guilty or not guilty. Is there enough evidence to convict me that I've done?
Okay.
Or not? So when you come to the question of the president and the truth, all these things that you have said to Natenda, we plan to do this, we are doing the other thing, he has totally not understood his job. That message should be told to Parliament through the budget he proposes from the Treasury. Hapo ndio tungependa, tungetenga, tutafanya. All those proposals should be in the budget.
Parliament.
Then Parliament sieves through them. And then with the Cabinet Secretary, they pass the budget. Then it is implemented by the controller of budget. Now, when you move away from that, then you come to an arena where you are being mad. So the question of truth does not align, because truth, you have to hold the truth against a standard. I don't believe in the dictatorship of relativism, that there's relative reality, that's alternative reality. No. I believe in absolute truth. And for us, the absolute truth would be the budget. I want to see it in the budget and it goes. But when you have moved away from the criteria for assessing you, and you're operating outside the arena, like these American boxers, wrestlers,
Yeah.
American wrestling, they can throw each other outside the ring and have a very, very exciting bout. But the referee does not see it. It counts for nothing. So when the president is talking outside the law, it's like those American wrestlers wrestling outside the ring. Okay. Let us see it in the budget. The government has got one policy tool, the budget. Let us see it in the budget. If it's in the budget and it's been funded, well and good. If it's not in the budget, it doesn't exist. So kutuambia tutatenda, tutafanya nini, that should be seen in the proposal of the budget that the minister reads on 30th June. That comes to that's passed on by the Parliament passes on 30th June latest. It should be in that place. So he's coming to make pronunciations to a wrong audience.
Yeah.
The people don't want to hear that. The people have elected their representatives to look at their taxes. So he should speak that, and that's why you look at Article 135 of the Constitution. They say the president shall put his directives in writing and seal them. Roadside declaration are not allowed. So he should put them in the budget proposal. All those things, beautiful things you want to see. And allocate money for, propose how much they require. Then take it to Parliament. Then they let Parliament look at it and say, we can afford this or we cannot afford this, and pass that.
Okay.
So, to use truth to judge Ruto is to engage in an exercise in futility. It's like trying to land on the sun.
Wow.
Yeah, trying to land on the
What
sun.
an
It was said
explanation.
truth with Ruto. He's totally out of sync. He's lost.
Don't believe he means well for the country.
He doesn't understand himself. He doesn't understand his job.
Okay.
He cannot mean anything. If you don't understand what you're doing, you can't mean anything. He means nothing.
And our parliament is also compromised.
Because of that structural flaw of not separating the treasury from the executive, denying the president, stopping the president from being a provider of goodies.
Okay. And the Senate, is it also
It's
compromised?
part of parliament.
Pia nyinyi mambo yenu imechemuka sana.
Yeah, but we are slightly safe because you don't have the CDF, where we are given so many millions to put in your pocket and then you account for it later. We don't have that.
Are there some of your colleagues that you always look at them and you wonder, who you aliingia paje?
No, I never asked that question.
How come?
The Boston Tea Party, if you know your history. No taxation without representation. No taxation without representation. The purpose of having representatives is to ensure that those who pay taxes are represented. So sometimes people are there who may not have gone to school well or have not done this, but they also represent people who have not gone to school well.
Nakupata, say less.
You
say
see?
less.
So I never use
They're
that.
representing a community.
Yeah, they represent a community, and that's where they come from. So parliament is not for the elite,
It's all inclusive.
for all taxpayers. So, and you can choose to represent by whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nimekupata. Wow, I'd never looked at it that way.
Yeah.
So guys, even if you look at it, musiblame wale tunaonanga utuko like who usually, and not all of them should be elite. Huyo pia ana represent watu wake. And now let's talk about the elephant in the room.
The only thing is that in parliament, we have got a very strong civil service backing.
Okay.
In fact, I was pleasantly surprised that there's so much that the country, the taxpayer, has gone out of his way to make sure that parliament is very well resourced in terms of the secretariat.
Okay.
And they can step down these things. I think every directorate is headed by somebody. Every division has a director. The director is a PhD holder in an area. So they're very well resourced, very good experts, very dedicated. And if this thing of confusion by power, money that comes from the presidency to buy people is taken out, then that secretariat will be able to work with any caliber of MP and they'll be able to vote, understanding what they're able to digest things to another school kid to understand.
Okay.
But what is happening is that being in parliament, you don't control anything. You don't control the budget of government. You don't. So, if the president is the one who gives goodies, you have to go and kneel before the president. Even me, some people tell me now, you say, Omtatah, unapiga Ruto, tutapataje maendeleo. Should never be like that. My concern should be in the budget. I should be able to persuade my friends in parliament, say, I need this, let us have it in the budget. Then they approve, it goes to the budget, then it's funded by the exchequer. It should not depend on the whims of a president. And the day we separate the treasury and the Ministry of Finance and set up an independent professional treasury, politics will be ceased being attractive to crooks in this country. People go to politics knowing that they're going to serve, and there's no illicit money. Even the presidency will not be so fought over because you'll not be a giver of goods. You cannot favor or disfavor.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just do your job as a head of state and as a head of government. You just do those two jobs neatly.
Kaput.
Yeah.
Finally, Rigathi versus Ruto. Is it real? if you look at it, because Rigathi even today he made some serious allegations that walikuwa wanaandikiwa speech, naambiwa enda useme hivi, enda ufanye hivi. Then when he says that, the president comes again and says this guy is talking about this and he was sent. Kafika pale alikuwa anaandikiwa, naeka hapa nena anasema mambo yake. Their fallout. Is it real?
Well, it's not difficult to gauge.
Ama ni strategy ya 2020. Yeah, people are
As a
thinking it's strategy.
As a Christian,
Yeah.
one of the biggest characters in Christianity is Paul.
Okay.
At one time he was called Saul and used to torture Christians. Damascus moment. And he became the strongest promoter of Christianity, especially the Gentiles.
Yes.
So Rigathi could have had his Damascus moment. So
So now he's a savior.
he could have had his Damascus moment. And you see, we have got what we call the God of second chance. You know, our God does not say the parable of aliingia saa 11 asubuhi, ingia saa 2 asubuhi, wengine akaingia saa 6 asubuhi, wengine wakaingia saa 9 saa 6 mchana, wengine akaingia karibu saa inaisha, labda tu kushona magunia, lakini they got the same pay. So those who came when they couldn't, I told no, don't. So you know, we believe in a second chance.
Okay.
And even Ruto today stops Ruto from changing.
Nothing really.
Nothing stops him.
Yeah.
And he just mischief. So Rigathi was there, but me, Rigathi is somebody for me. I did not identify very much with this style of politics.
Okay.
Although it is true that they had shared out the government, they had carved it out in terms of jobs and what have you. The contracts are there. We saw them in the Senate. Oh. He was agitating for his percentage.
Okay.
You know very well that Wamalwa and not Wamalwa but Mudavadi, that get buy Mudavadi Gateway free, that deal. They were given 30% of the government.
Because that deal was free.
Yeah. We saw it it was tabled in Parliament when the Rigathi was being impeached.
Weta aliongezwa kama bonus.
Even bonus. So hata saa hizi unaona Mudavadi ndiye ameingia UDA.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, Rigathi, for me, when he was pushing that thing, I didn't like his parochial view of things. And I remember one time I went for a funeral in Kiambu, where one of the Kiambu senator lost her sister and a brother-in-law. So I went to stand with him and the funeral was there. And I remember even the local MCA said, today we shall have to talk Swahili because there are very many visitors among us.
Okay.
It's only Rigathi who came and talked for about 45 minutes in mother tongue. The only thing he said in Swahili was a response to Senator Cheriot, who had talked something about tea and a coffee. Kasema bwana Cheriot, hiyo mambo ya majani na chai, mambo ya majani chai na kahawa wacha mimi. That was the only thing he said. The only thing he did not say in mother tongue.
Oh, wow.
He appraised everything in mother tongue. I found it not to be very strategically good. And it reminded me, when I was a small child, you know, my grandfather was semi-literate because he took my father to school, and my father came to teach him how to read and write. So my grandfather was a very progressive guy. He bought a tractor, a Northfield tractor in the 60s. So the driver of that Northfield tractor was a Kikuyu man called Julius. During national functions, Julius was the most powerful man in my village. Why? Because Kenyatta at times could address the nation in mother tongue. And the only man who could interpret, there were no TV radios. And the radios were not many. I remember my father had one. So all the villagers would come and sit around there, listening to the president talking. And he'd begin talking in mother tongue. So Julius would begin interpreting what Kenyatta was saying. But he was the driver of my grandfather's tractor. You get it?
Yes.
So that play in terms of national politics and whatever. So when I say when I was in Kiambu and I was watching it, I was thinking that this thing whereby I need Julius to come and interpret for me what Rigathi is saying.
Will he hang for 45 minutes?
They'll hang for 45 minutes. Lakini baadaye akaja akanigotea akasema mtoto panga tuende Busia. So whether he was playing to the gallery, whether he meant what he was trying to do, I don't know. But the Rigathi thing is a tragedy in the way he was impeached.
Okay.
The way the impeachment was choreographed. And I can tell you this without fear of contradiction. Money was paid.
Were you paid?
I was offered.
How much?
10 million. They paid a deposit of 7 million to people and 3 million after the voting.
Ukawacha 10 million.
Niliwacha hiyo 10 million.
Okay, ile 7?
Sio 10 ni 7 plus 3.
No, si 7 ni depo.
Yeah, hiyo sasa ilikuwa uchukue depo na wende. And me, I say this thing, one thing I said is that an innocent man, even the devil, gave him his due. The Katiba is very clear that the procedure for impeaching the president shall apply to the deputy president with the necessary amendments. And I said, even the National Assembly did not get out the necessary amendments for impeaching this man. Can we go back and get the law right? Again, we're going back to the law. Why is it necessary amendments? A vice president does not enjoy immunity from prosecution, from a criminal investigation, from all those things, or civil litigation, that's available to the president under Article 143 of the Constitution. He's just an ordinary guy. So, a lot of the things that were being thrown at Rigathi were matters of law enforcement that needed to be taken to the OCS.
Okay.
Okay? And we need to have a clear procedure of how are we going to do to handle the impeachment of a deputy president. So by mere fact that we are using the procedure for impeaching the president and disobeying the requirement that we amend it, I said I will not condemn a man unheard.
So you voted
the president enjoys very high immunity.
Okay.
Therefore, it is expected that if he abuses that, he should be taken to the gallows immediately.
Okay.
He should be subjected to mob justice or something like that, but not the vice president. So on principle, and I spoke, but you remember when I was speaking, people were speaking for 5 minutes, the speaker cut me off at the second minute. But I don't pass my message that we are violating the Constitution, and I cannot live to violate the Constitution. And that's why on all the 11 impeachments of Rigathi, I voted no on each one of them. I did not abstain. I did not absentee myself.
By the mere fact that you wanted him to also have the right to
so
answer.
I voted no. Okay. I cannot condemn an innocent man, however much I don't agree with him. So for me, the impeachment of Rigathi was choreographed. Bribery was involved to get the votes out. It's a shame on the Senate. And Rigathi deserves a fair hearing, however bad he is. So we cannot run a country like that. That's what I'm saying. Going back, the problem with Kenya is the rule of law.
Okay. There you have it from Senator Okiya Omtatah. He narrowed it down to the 3 main points. That is, one is just rule of law, and he narrowed it down to 3. That is constitution implementation, creating institutions, and the caliber of people running those institutions. Yes. Because you might have the best institutions, but the maduanzi wanaziran back to zero.
Yeah.
Or you might have implement the constitution, but you're not creating the institutions that will facilitate it to happen. So, well, there you have your solution. So 2027, tupatane kwa tepe.
I intend to run,
yes,
but I'm waiting for And I remember I published a gazette notice appointing a committee to carry out to go around the country and see if my candidature is viable or not.
Okay.
They are doing that.
Okay.
I think tomorrow they are in Kajiado.
Okay.
They are doing Kajiado tomorrow. So once they have finished going around the 47 counties, they'll bring me
reports.
Yeah, the next 3 days they are in Kajiado.
Okay.
They'll engage and say, if they tell me that my candidature is viable, I'll fire not even 4 cylinders, 8. Wanaangalia ndoka V8 engine na V8 8 cylinders. Hiyo. Wengine wanafikiria V8 ni kitu smart sana. Yes, is that the shape of the engine block, which is a V with 8 cylinders. And a V8. No, it's just a system of levers.
Sasa tena umerudi tena kwa kupata magari zetu sasa. Just because unaendesha Caldina imenini,
naendesha Demio.
Ulirudi kwa Demio? Kale ka white kali kwa written off.
Kale rudi barabarani kako. Ngine sasa kako
kwa Demio. Umewasha app ni request. Amuda nipeleka offline. Twende offline. Oh, so these guys will let you know if your candidature is right. If they tell you ground kidogo,
haikubali,
unaachana nayo.
I'm a very practical guy. I'll continue buying underpants.
Okay, where does the majority of your money go?
The majority of my money? Which money? There's money I earn from the Senate.
To biashara hapa na pale.
I do business. I do transport. Sio ya matatu hii ya matrela. Mimi napenda vitu kubwa kubwa. Ndio maana nataka hata kuwa president. Naendesha matrela. So I do trailer business and I survive on it. The Senate money, you know the problem with the Senate, there's a big temptation.
Okay.
Kuna ile unapewa loan ya you qualify for a mortgage of 35 million at 3%. Ucha kukopa pesa kwa bank. It's 10, 15, 17. So there's cheap money there. So if you have got your sentence, unatumia mshahara kuchukua hiyo pesa. Na baada ya mshahara hiyo itoshi, unafika about 30 million or so. So mshahara wangu mingi nimeweka huko. Nilichukua hiyo pesa, cheap money, ikae tu hapo. I like clean money, by the way. I like clean money and I fight to make money, but I hate that money.
Yeah.
Because if we all went for clean money, there's enough clean money to satisfy this country.
Yeah.
And clean money goes towards our needs. That money is usually towards our greed.
Oh, wow.
You see?
Wow, that's something.
So, you must suppress your greed.
Okay.
And be driven by your needs. So that's how it goes. So, your pesa Senate niliwana kwa 35 million hii. Nilijaribu kuchukua yote nikashindwa, mshahara hesabu haikuingia. So I took the maximum I could take. Lakini sasa vile kidogo ilibaki. Unajua nilichukua kabla tutakuwa na housing levy. Hatujakuwa na shift share. Hizo vitu zimekuja. Sasa zimelamba ile kidogo nilikuwa nimejiwekea. So sana tunaona ndio view sasa.
When as a last year, unaangalia hivi pay slip. Okay, take home ni 100,000.
I think Salasia is being tens of times better than I do. I'm not declaring, but Salasia is in the exclusive club.
Where are going to Kuramba?
Hey. But because I never came to the Senate planning to depend on the money of the Senate.
By the way. Sasa we salary
yako. That's why. And what wameniambia so that you are the first man to come to the Senate na umekonda.
Ili kukonda?
Nimekonda.
Oh, wow.
Nilikuanga
umekonda kama ng'onda. Ili kukonda? Oh, wow. Then kwa nuku kwa Senate. Oh, yeah,
at my prime.
I've looked at the other senators. Let me not mention names.
At my prime, I was 120 kilos. Those days the police could not lift me.
By the way, hata ile video ile ukifunga chain pale ulikuwa yenyewe umejibariki kidogo.
Ukija, you bounce. Kuja kama umejipanga.
Sasa wanakubeba na mkono mmoja unakuwa kwa Maria.
Ndio beba. Lakini bado anatoka jasho. Uliona hapo? Uliona hiyo video? Uliona walitoa jasho?
So, Hata niliona ulipelekwa court the following day kumechana nywele. I was like, kichana anybody? Kichana? Ulikuwa unataka hiyo solidarity.
Solidarity.
Ulikuwa nywele imesimama hivi nikasema, oh, people power.
Unajua sio nywele yangu nikipiga punk ni kali sana. Wacha hivi tumeweka hapa hivi.
Sasa nywele yangu. Why is my hair getting stray bullets? So nywele tu punk.
Wana nyorosha?
Piga punk hivi, fade ingine noma. Kupiga kadaire hivi.
Nikiweka hiyo alafu ni tafute long imeraruka hii jeans imefanya namna hii. Jeans
inaitwa rugged.
Hiyo.
Useme imeraruka. Jararuka. Ya kuraruka ni unintentional. Rugged ni intentional.
Intended poverty. So hiyo nikianza do imitation of poverty. Hiyo. Nikiweka alafu nishone.
Gen Z ndani.
You will not know I'm 60 years old.
You are 60?
Yes, kwa hesabu niko kuambia nilizaliwa
64.
1964 una hesabu ya 84.
I always use the word 64 a lot in this show. The 1964. Helping people since 1964. Then you came and said 1964. I was like,
Hiyo sasa. I'm 60 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
As we wrap up, Baba AU, apate asipate.
Now, there's something they call rallying behind the flag.
Okay.
Baba is carrying the Kenyan flag. And for that reason alone, apate.
Okay.
So rally behind the flag.
Okay.
Hata sasa Ruto akitangaza vita na Somalia. Rally behind Ruto.
Go behind the flag.
Yeah. We shall rally behind the flag.
Asante. Thank you so much for coming through. That document that you're releasing, you're publishing, I think we will review it next Monday kama itakuwa imeshatokea. If you'll be free, unaweza pitia tena ututake through it, tuambie hii pesa imeenda hapa, hii imeenda hapa, hii imenyoroshwa, hii ndio hii.
God willing, it I release on 25th.
Okay. Let's see how the schedule is, and also if you're not that busy, we can see what's gonna happen where.
25th is Saturday.
Yes, it's Monday.
Days, yeah.
Yes, Monday.
So I want to be able to release it.
Yeah.
In
mambo ichemuke.
Yeah. Nianze kutembea na bakuli niende kwa Uhuru, hebu weka hapa.
Rudisha.
Weka hapa. Ruto weka hapa. Hata kwa majinzi atilinda mali yenu, leta tu yetu. Ya millennials. Generation X.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching this one. I hope you've learned something and you've seen the direction our country is going through. In a short while, I'll be back with Baba Kimani. We're doing a recap on Kimani's situation, what is happening. So Kimani apparently has relapsed, and we need to find a way to take him back to the rehab. So let's talk about that one. Then also after that one, immediately we have Albi. We're going to be talking to the King of Smiles. Then after that one, we're going to have Mbogi ya Kimonyoski. And then after hiyo tunamaliza na Gaucho. Leo ni back to back kama Trump na nani?
Rim na tairi. Hapo tunasema rim na
tairi. Back to back kama. Thank you for coming through.
Thank you.
All right, see you guys in a short while.
Be blessed.
Asante sana. Wacha nije hapo tupige kafodo. Karibu meza. Iko safi.
Safi.